Yes, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman, Alfred.
I'm Batman.
I am Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by real fans for real movies. Make sure you visit our website, holybatcast.com. It is your one-stop shop for all things Holy BatCast. You can also find us all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, and you will find us. And if you love the show, you want to support the show, you want to become an official part of the family, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, I've got to thank all of our patrons. You guys are amazing, and we love you, and we thank you for doing what you do, because we know that you could just keep doing stuff, downloading for free, and that's cool, and we love you anyway, but you help us keep the show rolling, and that's awesome. So, along those lines, I got to give a little shout out to our newest patrons. First patron here, Weston Craig, and our second is Duncan Thurman. So, Weston and Duncan, thank you. Welcome to the family. Really does mean a lot to us, and we are glad that you are along for the ride. So, Weston and Duncan, you guys rock. As always, I'm your host, Andy DiGenova. Hi, and if you'd like to follow me, you can do that on Twitter and on Instagram. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova, ANDYDIGENOVA. Now, joining me on this episode, well, first of all, what is this episode? What are we going to talk about? We are going to catch up on a buttload of stuff, because it's been a while since we did an episode about any news, and a lot of the stuff we've been talking about is now out of date because things have happened, and so I just want to get us all caught up. And to join me in catching all that up, it is our favorite cuddly koala in the Batman cape. It's Brendan Lowe. Hey, Brendan.
How you doing?
Oh, good. You worried me there for a second.
No, sorry. I thought I'd hit mute, and I thought I'd unhit mute, and I didn't unhit mute, so there was a slight delay there. How are you?
I'm great. Good to have you.
Feels like we only did this yesterday.
I know. Well, for us, it was just yesterday. For the folks at home, it's been a few days.
It has.
I guess depending on when they listen.
Well, straight away, I would assume.
I would hope it would be their top priority, but I can't assume. You never know.
They need to sort their priorities out, that's for sure.
I mean, that's obvious. So yeah, no, it's good to have you back. It's weird being
glad to be here.
Similar time zones now.
It's so good.
You're not waking up at 4 a.m. to watch anything?
No, well, I mean, that still happens because, news still breaks, while you and I are both asleep now. So you're going to be in my boat like I've been forever. But it's good. Like, I'm not waking up to... The main thing is I'm not waking up to, 30 messages in our group chat. because you're asleep, I'm asleep. And yeah, Jamie and Jeremy don't seem to get on there that much, just the two of them, so...
Well, I guess it's us that's keeping our friendship alive.
Definitely.
I guess that's on us. Well, good for us then. Now they can wait and wake up to a bunch of messages from us.
Well, I mean, the way it sort of works out is Jamie will start waking up around the time I go to sleep. So he and I will sort of communicate for maybe an hour or so, and then I crash out for the night. And then, I used to, like I said, I'd wake up to sometimes 30 plus messages because you three would be on there or something would happen and I was got to play catch up and, I'll comment on something that you guys were chatting about, 5 or 6 hours prior.
And at that point, we've moved on. We don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep. No, I was always behind the 8 ball.
Well, it's good to, I mean, it's a mixed blessing, but it's good for you and I now. We are at least on this, it's the same day. Yes. And we're just a couple hours apart.
Yep.
So
sucks to be Jamie, your ex co-host.
I know. It was good knowing him. I'm going to miss that guy, but life goes on, Folks at home, don't worry. Jamie's still around. He's still going to be on as much as we can make schedules work. So fret not. But in the meantime, the frequent guest star is becoming a recurring regular.
Yeah, I'm being bumped up.
You're like the
Bumped up series
you're like
regular.
the wacky neighbor that starts out on the sitcom as like a guest spot, and then the fans are so into you that like then we have to bring you back for every episode. You're the Urkel, is what I'm saying. You're the Urkel.
I was going to say Lucas's sister on Stranger Things, because she's bumped up to a series regular for season 3 now.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
I go with Urkel.
I'm the sassy little sister.
That's how we all know you.
Is that what happened with Urkel? He was
Yeah.
never.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep. He was a 1-episode character.
Oh,
and
wow.
and the audience thought he was so funny that they kept bringing him back, and then he became the focus of the whole show.
It became the show, because
Yeah.
I remember watching that as a kid, but to me Urkel was always part of, he was always one of the leads in that show.
Yeah, I remember his very first episode, and he was just supposed to be this nerdy kid who had a crush on the daughter, and otherwise it was a pretty standard family sitcom, but he was just so funny that he took over the show.
Oh, it worked. I mean, I had an Urkel doll, so
Yeah, so you're our Urkel.
Nice.
Skinny, nerdy, awkward.
I'll just give an occasional like.
Did I do that?
Some people are going to have to Google this.
I feel like somehow people still know who Urkel is. I don't know how, but I feel like they do.
Well, he's going to be in a new episode of Scooby-Doo. Did you see that last week?
I have not. I saw there was something, but I haven't. I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Hit Batman news proper. Like, they've announced a new sort of, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the Scooby-Doo series where there's a guest star.
Right, yeah, the new Scooby-Doo
Rachel
movies.
Kimsey posted about it because she's going to be Wonder Woman in an episode.
Awesome.
But I can't remember if it's the episode kicking it off or if it's just one of the episodes in the run. But yeah, I can never remember his name. Is it Jaleel something?
Jaleel White, yeah.
He's reprising the role of Urkel and going to be a guest star in Scooby-Doo.
Amazing.
I am so watching this series.
Well, I'm
and
sold.
I'm not a Scooby-Doo fan.
I am sold on that. So stupid question. I should know this because I should have looked, but I didn't look. But if Rachel's going to be doing Wonder Woman in it, which is awesome, are they doing Batman and Robin?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, what good are you? Do you know who would know? Jamie.
No, I read it a week ago when I
know.
was at when I was at a Comic-Con, so I was sort of busy.
Okay.
But I remember Urkel, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the important moral of the story.
Holy
is that
Urkel cast.
Is that we remember Urkel and we celebrate his entire body of work. He was also the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
He was.
Yeah. Anyway, why don't we talk more DC crap instead? You just mentioned that last week you were at a Comic-Con. That's awesome. This will be the first year that I'm not going to San Diego Comic-Con. And word of that made its way to the water tower at Warner Brothers. And they were like, oh, Andy's not coming. No point in us going.
Why bother?
So they canceled.
They did.
So yeah, that's the big news. Is you were just saying how you'd have to wake up at ungodly hours for things and news, and you used to wake up in the middle of the night to follow Comic-Con. Well, good news, you're off the hook this year. WB is skipping Comic-Con.
Yeah, it used to be a 3 or 4 a.m. wake up call for me.
Which I've got to respect that commitment. Like, that's impressive. Because I don't think I would have done that. I would have slept in.
This year, you'd have been getting up 2 hours earlier.
So at that point, I just would have been staying up.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so this news came out, and when I say WB is skipping Comic-Con, that doesn't mean that there will not be a WB or DC presence at Comic-Con. It means they are not doing their annual Hall H presentation. So WB Pictures is not doing Hall H, but they will still be on the floor. There will still be other panels
for the TV shows.
Exactly. There will still be panels at Comic-Con for DC TV, for both the CW shows and the DC Universe shows. There will be plenty of DC in and around Comic-Con. They're just not doing the big Hall H extravaganza, which that was the reason I camped out every year. The other stuff that happened in Hall H was always a nice bonus, but I camped out for DC. And this year they're not doing it. Again, I think because I'm not going to be there, which is very courteous of them.
Nice of them.
It's
so we're
very nice
assuming they won't be there next year either?
Well, who knows? because over the past few years, Marvel Studios has started going like deciding year by year. So they didn't do it last year. They definitely didn't do it last year. They might not have done it 2 years ago, but they did it the year before that, and then they took off the year before that, but then they did it the year before that. So like they're going kind of on again, off again.
Because D23 is every other year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Marvel Studios is like on again, off again, very Ross and Rachel. And I guess WB is going to start considering doing the same. We don't know. I mean, we will see what happens next year. We'll see if they make a triumphant return or if they're literally just like, we're not doing it anymore. But this kind of sent ripples throughout the fan community, and it's so appropriate because the last episode that I recorded before moving to China, I recorded with Scotty. We talked about the Superpowers team. We talked about The Fear, which I know we inspired you to watch it. Did you watch The Fear?
I did.
It was really cool, wasn't it?
I remembered it, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was really
going to
cool.
message you too and say that like that GIF, and I'm so glad you mentioned it because I'm like, he's going to realize that GIF's from that episode.
Yeah. Anyway, Scotty and I talked about The Fear, and the whole point of that episode was I was like, we're going to talk about Superpowers, which isn't timely, so I can release this episode whenever I want, and it'll still be, it won't be outdated. But because we answered emails on that episode, someone asked the question of like, will there be a Wonder Woman 1984 trailer at Comic-Con? And I said, yeah, of course there will be. That's of course they'll premiere the first Wonder Woman 1984 trailer. And
so we were expecting.
And as I have a talent of jinxing things. At this point, I hope you all realize this. It's not a good mutant power, but it's a mutant power nonetheless. Is that if you want something to happen or not happen, just have me come out on record and say the opposite.
Yeah. It's surprising, though. Like, maybe they are just changing the way they're going to do things because it's not uncommon for them to drop a first teaser 12 months out. That's essentially been
the model. The model for years now was especially for Comic-Con was always the perfect time to drop the big trailer for the next big upcoming DC film. It's where we got
three. They've got 3 in the next calendar year.
Yeah, and that's where we got the big Batman versus Superman trailer. It's where we got the first Wonder Woman trailer. It's got where we got where we got the first Aquaman trailer last year. So it made perfect sense. I was like, yeah, of course they would drop that trailer then, because at that point it would have been 11 months away. So within the year, and Warner Brothers listened to the episode and they're like, oh, Andy, we're going to make you look stupid again. We're canceling Comic-Con. So the rumor had gotten out there that they're skipping Comic-Con Hall H. And then Patty Jenkins, she tweeted out basically confirming. So she tweeted out saying, by now you've heard WB isn't going to Hall H this year. We're so sad to miss you there and waiting until December to start our official Wonder Woman 1984 campaign in full. But the truth is, we can just barely wait. And she released the first poster for Wonder Woman 1984, which is this Technicolor extravaganza of Wonder Woman in golden armor, and then behind her is this very Technicolor bright backdrop.
It's very, very colorful,
super colorful. And so we've got it was nice of Patty Jenkins to kind of throw us this little bone and be like, she confirmed they're not going to be at Hall H, but in the meantime we got this look at Wonder Woman 1984, which still made a splash. Before we get to the poster, though, feelings on Warner Brothers skipping Hall H.
Surprise, like I said before, they've got 3 movies coming out in the next calendar year between now and next year's Comic-Con. So you've got Joker at the end of this year, Birds of Prey early next year, and Wonder Woman in June. So I was expecting trailers for each, to be honest. Your first teaser for Wonder Woman, a more full trailer for the Joker, and the first teaser for Birds of Prey. It just seemed like a given. But if they are changing tactics, it seems to be the way things are really there. I mean, even when you think about it, Aquaman, like, we got the first trailer at Comic-Con last year, but at that stage the movie was only 5 months away.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do the 12-month out thing with Aquaman.
Right.
So maybe the same sort of thing where they're going to wait till that sort of 6 month, which, if they're going to do that, we're going to have a Birds of Prey trailer before the end of the year, in the next couple of months.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, that's the latest we're hearing, is that trailer is imminent. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, it's odd, it's surprising, because they've not skipped Hall H, not in my time following Comic-Con or going to Comic-Con. So it is a little bit surprising. And I've heard different theories about, like, they felt like they couldn't quite compete because Marvel Studios is coming back this year, which I don't buy that. Like, that's never been a problem in the past. Like,
hell no. Even when Marvel were there, like, it always seemed to be the case that most years DC would kind of, quote unquote, win Comic-Con. Like, the internet buzz was always about the DC trailer and not so much about the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, and I think
the
that
people I follow, like,
I was going to say, it probably feels that way just because of we travel more in the DC circles, so it probably feels that way. But you're not wrong. There's always been enough buzz to go around for whatever DC brings and whatever Marvel brings. So it's not usually been an issue. So that's why, and that's why I don't buy it. Is like, they're like, well, we can't compete with what Marvel's bringing. Like, that's not true.
But what are Marvel bringing?
Well, we don't know.
Out.
Exactly, but whatever they bring, it's not going to be as big as Endgame or Infinity War. So
no,
I just don't buy it. Yeah,
like, there's Black Widow and question mark.
Yeah, it'll be like Black Widow, Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2, yeah. But none of those are even in production, but maybe they'll make some announcements around those. But yeah, exactly. Like, that's why I don't buy the competition explanation, because there's room for both.
If they're not doing Hall H, and you said that, the talk is that Birds of Prey is imminent, like the first trailer, do you think they still drop it on Comic-Con weekend?
No. I think that, again, I'm going to jinx us. I think they get ahead of the Comic-Con buzz, so they're not lost in the noise.
Okay.
I
just thought, because I wasn't sure if dropping it that weekend with that event on, if that would make people talk about it more. But that's a good point too about trying to beat it.
That's what I would do. I would release it the week before Comic-Con. Yeah,
that's no bad idea.
Is all anybody's talking about. So
that's kind of what they did with Titans last year too. That trailer hit, 2 or 3 days before Comic-Con, and it sort of
hit the first day. It hit the first day of Comic-Con.
Oh, did it? Because I remember it had a lot of traction before all the other stuff hit.
They released it Thursday morning of Comic-Con weekend.
Was everywhere for a couple of days, and then it sort of died down when the rest of the stuff from Comic-Con was coming out.
Well, and the reason why is because they had that whole DC Universe experience, which was my highlight of Comic-Con last year. And there was like a mini escape room in Dick Grayson's loft where you had to solve some puzzles, but the prize at the end was the trailer.
Which you've already seen.
It was a catch-22. They released the trailer because they knew that as soon as people started getting into that escape room, there would be crappy cell phone versions of the trailer making their way out there, and that's not how they wanted people to see that trailer. So they released the trailer in its all HD glory, so that wouldn't be the case. But it sort of took the prize away for, like, I went in, did the little escape room, and it was cool, it was fun, but it was like, and now we're gonna watch the trailer, and I'm like, the one I watched in my hotel room this morning, cool. But yeah, so that's, so Birds of Prey, I think they're gonna try to beat the Comic-Con rush, but that comes out in February, so it is coming sooner than later. And then everything else will just kind of follow its own timeline. But I spoke about this at length with our friends Sean Gerber and Robert Reinecke. We have our own little chat where we talk about these things, and so we talk about you all the time, Brendan.
Okay. I see how it is.
Just make fun of you the whole time.
As opposed to you doing it to my face anyway.
Yeah, as opposed to how respectful I am to you to your face. No, so it's mostly we just talk about box office because we're nerds like that.
Yeah.
But when this came out, the only thing that we felt made sense is AT&T is taking over Warner Brothers. And part of that process is looking at spending and what are we spending on what and when. And maybe the new AT&T overlords said, how much do we spend on that presentation in Hall H? $1.5 million? Or whatever. I'm just made that up. I have no idea what it cost them. But let's say, because you're not even talking about creating the media for it, which is expensive enough. You're talking about flying all that talent to San Diego, sometimes for just a couple hours. And those people don't fly coach. So like to have that presentation, I'm sure is at least $1 million. It's probably more.
We'd fly coach. They could get us out.
I know. We'll moderate.
The Holy BatCast panel.
I think it's worth it. And so my guess is they're bean counting now that they have new bosses, and they said, we spend how much on Comic-Con? Can you prove to me that it makes a difference in the box office? And the answer is no. You can't prove. You can never prove that Comic-Con buzz equals box office. You just can't. Buzz is good, but when it comes to the bottom line, doesn't matter, And so my guess is it was just a business decision of like we spend how much on that presentation? You know what? Let's save the money. Yeah.
And I guess if they don't do it this year and those movies perform well, I guess then they've got sort of, two options to look at from, these movies made this amount and this movie's made this amount and one had Comic-Con, one didn't. I don't know. I mean, I hope they don't always skip it because, like we said, I get up at, early hours of the morning and it's winter here when it happens, so it's usually cold as hell. But I love it. Like the last 3 or 4 years I've done that, I've really enjoyed it. It's been really exciting.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. Is I totally understand and could understand and know where they would be coming from. Whereas like Comic-Con buzz doesn't equal box office. I completely agree with that. That's true. But there's still something to be said for buzz anyway. The fact that weekend everybody's going to be talking about your stuff in one way or another, and like being part of the conversation. And just bowing out of that conversation, to me, just feels defeatist. It feels, and it sucks a lot of the fun out of it for fans like us.
Yeah.
So
it's
I see both sides.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I see both sides. From a business perspective, I get it. But at the same time, let's say it's $1 million. Let's say it's $5 million to do that presentation. For AT&T, that's still a drop in the bucket. Come on, they can afford it.
AT&T, they're a communications company, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they're one of the biggest communications companies in the world.
Okay. Because we don't have them here, so.
Yeah, so just like Comcast, that is also a big communications / cable / internet company. Comcast bought Universal.
Okay.
AT&T.
Comcast is in like the guys who do the games?
No. Comcast is a cable internet company here in the States, and they're huge.
Okay.
They tried to buy Disney, they failed, and then they bought Universal.
Okay.
And then AT&T is like, well, we want to do that, so AT&T bought Warner Brothers.
Gotcha.
Because monopolies.
Well, yeah. Who needs its competition?
Right. So yeah, AT&T are like the new bosses over at WB, and that's the only variable that's really different between this year's Comic-Con and last year's or the year before.
Okay.
Of course the slate is different, but if you looked at last year's slate, it wasn't any bigger than this one would be. They had one biggie, Aquaman. This year has one biggie, Wonder Woman. And then they had...
Well, they dropped Shazam last year, too.
And then they had Shazam, but Shazam was mid-level, the same way Birds of Prey is going to be mid-level.
Oh, true. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was there one more? Oh, and there was Wonder Woman. Duh. Then they gave us a sneak peek of Wonder Woman. So last year they gave us the first little snippet of Wonder Woman. They gave us the Shazam trailer and they gave us the Aquaman trailer. This year, they could have given us the new Joker trailer, first Birds of Prey trailer, first Wonder Woman trailer. So I think that the lineups are comparable. I don't think that's what made the decision.
Because next year they're going to have stuff from the Batman too.
Yes.
Whether or not they're ready to release it
yeah,
this time
and
next year, but there'll be stuff there.
yeah, and the Suicide Squad.
Yes. You're segueing, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
I thought you were.
The problem is that in this conversation around Comic-Con, there were like 6 different segues that I wanted to take to get to everything else we want to talk about, but there's just because it's all connected.
It is.
Anyway, that's where we are with Comic-Con. There will still be plenty of DC goodness there. I will still be sad to miss it. I am going to miss Comic-Con this year. But I will say that WB skipping Hall H makes me a little less sad that I'm missing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I'm
like...
I'm not going to get up at 4 a.m. for the TV stuff. Like, I can catch that when I wake up.
Yeah, when the time comes.
Yeah.
So, back to the confirmation we got from Patty Jenkins and our first poster for Wonder Woman 1984. What'd you think of the poster?
Yeah, it's nice. Like, very bright. Love the armor. I know people sort of taking the piss and doing like it's Wonder Woman Ragnarok and stuff. It's like, come on.
Well, no, dude, it's totally fair because I don't know if you knew this, but Thor Ragnarok invented colors.
Yeah. I was going to make the joke before when you said about the post, you can tell this isn't a Zack Snyder movie because it's bright and colourful. And I say that as a Snyder fan. But, yeah, it's nice.
It's still fair.
A poster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Wonder Woman 1984.
Yep.
And nothing says 80s more like bright, bright colors. And I love that it's not just, oh, we made a Wonder Woman and it's set in the 80s. They're going all in on the 80s aesthetic, which is all the rage right now anyway. You just mentioned Stranger Things, which comes out in a couple short days. And so I know what I'm doing for 4th of July.
So excited.
Oh, my God. The fact that it's like a summer 4th of July season, oh, my God. I'm binging it here in Beijing.
I finished my Season 2 rewatch yesterday.
Awesome. But 80s aesthetic is back, and Wonder Woman 1984 is embracing it wholeheartedly. I think that's what they're showing here, and I am here for it. I love it. They're going totally 80s, and I think that's totally rad. And then the fact that we get this first official look at another outfit for Diana, her golden eagle armor, without sans helmet and wings, but still many fans picked up on, oh, that's the eagle armor, and indeed it is.
They had an eagle eye.
Oh.
See what I did there?
I did. It's hard to miss it. And I think that's cool. You know, that's something we were actually talking about this yesterday before we were recording, is I don't have an issue with different superhero costumes in movies as long as there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there will be reasoning for why she has to put on the armor, maybe to protect herself from flying claws from a cheetah-like adversary.
Who knows?
But as long as we get enough of her in the classic outfit, which we will because I saw it at Comic-Con last year, I love the idea of putting her in the armor too, and I think she looks amazing. I mean, Gal Gadot would look amazing in sweats eating Haagen-Dazs on the couch, as long as it's my couch. But she looks amazing anyway. No,
you're right. I'm the same as you. Like, I like it when they can sort of change up the costume a little bit. It does annoy me sometimes when it just changes from movie to movie for no reason, because it's like, oh, for Christ's sake, I've got all the action figures. I don't want to update them.
I know. Well, and I am always going to pick the classic look for every superhero. I just always am.
Yeah.
And that's just the way I am. Is I just saw Spider-Man Far From Home a few days early. Thank you, China. And he wears multiple costumes in the movie. But what's my favorite look? The classic red and blue. Like, I'm sorry. I just want Spider-Man to look like Spider-Man. And same thing with Wonder Woman. Is this armor cool? Hell yeah, it is. Am I looking forward to seeing her in it? Yep. But do I still prefer the classic look? Yes, I do. Because it's Wonder Woman.
It's like, the way they, and again, I'm not, don't have a go at me here. I'm not saying this to blow the movie. But like, at least in Batman Forever, when the Sonar suit came in, there was a reason for it, and a reason.
Yeah, at least they wrote exactly. They wrote a line of dialogue, so there's a reason that he puts it on.
Yeah, it wasn't just he shows up in a different suit for no reason. like
which happens,
after that, yeah.
which happened 2 years later, where they're like, "Oh, F it," it's fine.
Yeah, but no, if there's a reason for it, which I'm sure there will be, it's it's no secret now. I've been saying it for the last 2 years. Like, Wonder Woman sort of came out of nowhere and is pretty much my favorite comic book movie of all time. For a comic book movie that doesn't have Batman in it, I mean, yes, it's obviously linked to that world, but for that to be my favorite superhero movie of all time, that's big praise, and I can't wait for the sequel.
I agree. I can't wait to see more. But I also love that Patty Jenkins nipped it in the bud by saying the official campaign doesn't start till December. So everybody chill the F out. Mm-hmm. Because how many, because, oh my God, it's happened so many times over the past couple of years where, like, everybody just decides we're getting a trailer on a certain day for no reason. Everyone just decides. Mm-hmm. And then they all get pissed off when the trailer doesn't come out, when no one ever said it was coming out. And so James Wan did that a lot too, of being like, hey guys, I never said there was a trailer coming out. It'll come when it's ready. And now Patty Jenkins is doing the same thing. It doesn't start till December. See you then. In the meantime, here's a poster. So now everybody can, when it comes to Wonder Woman 1984, everybody can chill, and we'll get something in time for Christmas, a little Christmas gift.
It's going to be a nice little Christmas present.
Yeah.
We can watch the Wonder Woman trailer before we watch the main feature of Santa Claus the movie with a McDonald's meal.
Oh, now you're speaking my language. It sounds like the most wonderful Christmas ever.
Definitely.
I was telling you yesterday, I definitely shipped a little Christmas tree to myself in China so I could be festive in my apartment for the season.
You have to be.
Priorities. So yeah, that's exciting. Wonder Woman 1984. It doesn't come out for a year from right now. Well, a little less than a year now. Yeah. Next June, and so it will come. But in the meantime, this was really cool to give us a feel for a vibe for what the movie's going to be, which is all I'm all about it. Before we get to Wonder Woman 1984, though, we are going to get to see Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. And so we will, as we just discussed, there may be a trailer coming soon, which makes sense. That comes out in February, so
you're hitting that 6-month mark again.
Yeah, you're starting to get close. It apparently screened. I don't know if you heard this. It apparently screened last week, and there's there's a couple reactions out there that are all very, very positive. Take them with a grain of salt. You just never know, but it's exciting to hear anyway. But we did get another reveal, and I don't think it wasn't official, but it went out there. I tweeted it out as well.
Oh, really? I thought it was official.
I mean, it's official in that it was like a real costume test photo, but WB didn't release it. It got leaked.
Okay, fair enough. I thought they did.
Yeah, it got leaked by DC Israel.
Okay.
I gave them credit. They watermarked the shit out of that photo to make sure everyone did give them credit. So,
fair enough.
Which I do not blame them, by the way, these days. If they got the exclusive, they deserve the credit. But it's not our first official photo, because we've seen other looks of Harley Quinn in what we've seen up till now, but another new look for Harley Quinn. And it's still the pigtails. She's in like these shiny gold pants that are almost overalls, but not like classic overalls, because they're it's weird. It's like, it's not like straps and then overalls. It's like the straps are part of the overalls. But anyway, it's like these gold overalls, and then she's wearing like a tank top under them, and then she's got the mallet behind her head in a very Harley Quinn pose. I'm assuming you've seen this.
I have
Brendan.
seen it.
Okay. And your thoughts?
I didn't love it, if I'm being honest. I in terms of costume, nothing I've seen in terms of the set shots and the photos we have seen, none of it's jumping out to me as I don't really like the aesthetic they're going for with Harley. It doesn't, aside from the fact it's Margot Robbie with the pigtails and the slightly coloured hair, it doesn't look like Harley Quinn to me. But look, we'll see. I know the look isn't everything, so as long as the movie's good, I'll get over it. But just based on still photos, not a fan so far.
Well, so it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually agree.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still excited for the movie. I am. I can't wait to see the movie. But aesthetically speaking, it's like they're trying to not do costumes. They're trying to not do costumes, and I'm like, no, do costumes. So yeah, I'm sitting here looking at the photo, and so the gold overalls, they do have the diamond print pattern on it, and then she's got like the pink tank top on and the mallet. So yeah, like, but I'm like, and I'm okay with switching up the look, especially for Harley Quinn. Like in Suicide Squad, the fact that Harley Quinn had many looks, it made sense, and it makes sense for that character. I'm fine with that. As far as this look, I'm fine with it too. It's nothing that gets me super psyched, being like, oh my God, she looks amazing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that seems very much in line with what we got for Suicide Squad, and that it evokes Harley Quinn without being a direct translation. Really what got me most excited is the fact that she's holding the mallet.
The mallet, yeah.
Because I love that she had, like, I like that we got the nod to the mallet in Suicide Squad, but I wish she would have used it instead of the bat. And I know that's a nerdy thing. Call me a fanboy. I don't care. Make fun of me. Whatever. I can take it.
I do daily.
It's fine. But like, I want her to use the mallet. And so I hope that in this film she does, because that would be awesome. That's very Harley Quinn. And although I do like this look, and some of the other looks we've seen from the film all look pretty neat, and it looks like the costume designer's having a ton of fun designing looks for Harley Quinn, it still goes back to what I was saying is I still just wish we would get the classic look, at least for one sequence. It doesn't have to be for the whole movie. That's fine. I get that. But for a sequence, that would be great to get her in the Harley Quinn outfit.
See, and I don't know what it's like. I was going to say where you are in America, but what it has been like in the States. 3 years on from Suicide Squad, we don't need to go into what people think about that movie. It's what it is. But I still see Daddy's Little Monster shirts everywhere. Like,
oh, okay.
All the time. Like, that look seemed to really work. Like, people dug that aesthetic for Harley Quinn. Like, and I'm not just talking at conventions. I'm just talking on the streets. Like, every other day I'll see some young girl in a Daddy's Little Monster shirt. And I don't know, like, they're really, really getting away from that look that she had in that movie, whether you like the movie or not. So I don't know if it's smart or... Because that just seemed, it was very marketable, that phrase.
Oh, yeah,
shirt.
Absolutely. And I've seen a little bit about, like, male gazy versus not male gazy. I get that, and I don't disagree with that, because, yeah, she looked hot in Suicide Squad. Yes.
Oh, look, I'm not saying she doesn't look hot in the gold. It's just I don't like the look that much.
But no, and I've seen discussion about that in that, like,
yeah,
Suicide Squad was directed by a man, so Harley looked more sexualized, and this look is less sexualized, and I get that, and I think that's cool, and Harley Quinn can run the gamut, and that's fine. But also it's pretty accurate to Harley Quinn is to wear skimpy outfits. She always has, and she always does, and so it's not like it's somehow a betrayal of the character to have her dress that way. And you're right. I mean, I can't speak to now. It's not like I don't see it as much now, but in 2016, if you walked around at a comic convention or during Halloween, oh man, that Harley Quinn look was everywhere.
Even just a mall, like,
yeah.
But one of the design is one thing, but I mean, yeah, she obviously looked quote unquote more sexy for Suicide Squad, but the color aesthetic was still there. Like, the palette was still the same, whereas everything I've seen from Birds of Prey thus far, there's nothing there in her outfits at all that's, say, Harley Quinn. Like, in terms of color and stuff, like, it's so far removed from what that character's ever worn.
God, that makes sense, and I don't have an issue with switching up the color palette either. Again, like I like that it has like the diamond imprint on the overalls and everything, because that's a very strong nod to Harley Quinn. And again, she's a character who would make sense for her to have 100 different outfits and 100 different looks. I just want something a little more classic as well.
Yeah, hopefully we get it.
I have no issue with the new, but like don't abandon the old.
Yeah, if it ain't broke.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see what she looks like in the Suicide Squad if she does appear in it. Mm-hmm. Because
it's not a sequel, but everyone else.
It's not a sequel, but everyone's back. So it's barreling forward, and now it looks like it's on track to shoot in September. Mm-hmm. Which is, so it's it's the rumor. I don't think it's been confirmed by anyone, but the rumor is that the Suicide Squad will be filming in Georgia in September, going through the end of the year and into January.
Oh, so they're filming in Georgia.
Yeah, which
interesting.
Very interesting. So there's still, we still haven't gotten a lot of confirmation on everything, and I think that will come. I think as we get closer to filming, we'll get the confirmation of who's really back, who's not, and all that good stuff. But it does, the rumor is that Harley Quinn will return. I've also seen the rumors that, and I hope this is not true, is that they're just going to kill off all the old people at the beginning from the last movie and then just move forward with all the new people in the new movie. And I don't want that at all. I think that would be so
very fan theory.
I hope, because I think that would just be shitty,
And I don't know if the other guys would sign on for that, to be honest.
Well, some of them might not have a choice. They might be under contract.
Yeah, it's true.
But I just think that would be a cheap way to go.
Yeah.
It's just like almost like a middle finger to the previous film and a middle finger to anybody who likes that movie. Like, I like that movie. I'm sorry, it ain't perfect, but I like that movie. What I liked most about that movie are the characters. So don't kill all those characters to make a point. Like, use those characters even better, and then you've got me on your side.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bring back Boomerang, Flag, and Harley, even just those three. Right. Obviously Waller. I'm in. I mean, that's all you need for it to follow on to a degree. Like, if there's no Diablo died, I guess. Spoilers. Yeah. But, Katana, that sort of stuff, they don't need to be there. But that's the thing with Suicide Squad. Yeah, you can completely change the roster, but at least have two. Even two. I don't care. Just have some. I would really like to see Boomerang and Harley back. I mean, obviously Flag's going to be there, but Boomerang and Harley are the two that I latched onto. It's not just because they're Australians.
Agree. Sure, Brendan. No, I agree with that, and that's just it. Those are two great characters. I don't think he'll be allowed to kill off Harley Quinn. So I think Harley
throw
is
the
safe.
baby out with the bathwater.
But yeah, don't do that. So I hope that James Gunn is smarter than that. I hope Warner Brothers is smarter than that. Because, mixing the old with the new is a lot of fun, and I think you can make a really good Suicide Squad movie that way.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
So it'll be interesting to see how this thing shapes up, but the fact that it's apparently on the calendar to shoot in September, which is just a couple months away, it means away we go.
Yep. Start getting some more news.
So yeah, the DC films aren't slowing down. The slate is very bizarre, and it's certainly not what we thought the slate was going to be, but these are still moving forward. Production is still happening. Shazam comes home in a week or two, I think. is
digital in the next couple of days, and physical mid-July. I think it's the 16th. Well, it is here anyway, the 16th. So
yeah. And Zachary Levi already said that he's planning to shoot the sequel next year. So that's great. I hope that's true. I can't wait to see more of the Shazam family. But concurrently with the Shazam 2 is also Black Adam.
Yep.
And that's one that we've continued to wait to see what happens with. But according to the Hollywood Reporter, Black Adam has found a director. And this is, again, a few weeks old. I apologize if all this news is old, guys. But hey, catch up with us, I guess. So a few weeks ago, the Hollywood Reporter reported that Black Adam has found a director, and it's Jaume, and I don't know if that's how you say his name, but that's how I'll say it, Jaume Collet-Serra, who just directed The Rock in the Jungle Cruise movie, and he was actually one of the directors in consideration for Suicide Squad 2. He chose Jungle Cruise, and it seems like now he's circled back around, and he is going to do Black Adam with his pal, The Rock. He also did The Shallows, which I really enjoyed.
That was
Orphan,
a good movie.
Yeah, Orphan, which I really enjoyed, and then House of Wax, which I really enjoyed. So honestly,
I've the horror feel there.
Yeah, I've really liked most of the stuff he's done, and he's someone who has continued to. I think he did a few of those Liam Neeson action movies that all have different names but are kind of all taken.
Yeah.
I think he did a couple of those too. But he's someone who's continued to like climb up the ranks, and I feel like Jungle Cruise is his first real, truly like A-list, tier 1 movie. But now it seems like his next deal is with Black Adam, and so I guess he and Dwayne Johnson enjoyed working together, and they're like, hey, let's keep rocking and rolling and do Black Adam next.
No pun intended.
Not at all. So I'm into it. Like, I've liked most of his movies. I honestly haven't seen some of those Liam Neeson ones, but all the other ones I mentioned I've seen and I've enjoyed. And so I think it's a good choice. And if he and Dwayne Johnson got along together on Jungle Cruise, then that's awesome. The fact that we are getting a Black Adam movie is still a little crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm in that camp. I'm just kind of like, what's a Black Adam movie without Shazam? Like, I don't understand what this movie's going to be. Yeah,
I know. But you heard the rumors that like it's going to include other members of the DC universe. The rumor
that's right. Yep, Hawkman.
Which if that's true, like that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm into that. You've got
to do something,
right? Because Black Adam on his own, that's a tougher sell. But here's a question: do you think Black Adam or Shazam 2 happens first?
I don't know. I mean, you can't stall on Shazam 2 for that long because, like we've said before, those kids aren't going to get any younger.
That's true.
They're sort of at that age where, they age very
overnight they become different people. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to keep harping on Stranger Things, but I watched the thing with the kids the other day. They were on Fallon.
Brendan, we get it. You love Stranger Things. Start a podcast already.
I'm just like, what happened to these kids? Oh my god! And the cast of Shazam, they're that age as well. Like they're gonna age very, very quickly, so they need to act fast on that. I mean, there's nothing to say they can't sort of shoot around the same time.
Right.
Like, do you think it would be a case of... I mean, I don't know with 2021, because isn't that when the Batman and Suicide Squad are coming out? But you could have, say, Black Adam at the start of the year and bookend it with Shazam. It could maybe be like a, November, December movie like Aquaman was, or I don't know. I guess it depends where Black Adam fits into it as well. Like,
right?
Is Black Adam...
this seems like it would be a prequel to Shazam.
Yeah, and like, is Black Adam going to be the villain in the sequel? Because, as we know, you've got that Mr. Mind tease at the end. So, are they?
But there's no reason. There's no reason you couldn't have a mini Legion of Doom with Black Adam, Mr. Mind, and Mark Strong.
True.
Savannah.
I was just having a look at the director too, like the Liam Neeson movies. I've seen 2 of the 3 or 4 that he's done. And the 2 that I've seen I liked. Like he did Non-Stop and The Commuter, and I liked both of those. So yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, you do Black Adam next, and then you do Shazam 2, that's Shazam and Black Adam. Mm-hmm. Because you kind of get double the interest that way.
Yeah.
And I think that
mean. They could bookend a year with it.
Yeah, that sets you up, I think, for the best chance of success with Shazam 2 is next you do Black Adam, and then Shazam 2 is Shazam versus Black Adam, and you can still find a way for Sylvana and Mr. Mind to factor into that.
You could even call it that.
That's true. But you're right, like just kind of gauging what these schedules look like. If Zachary Levi thinks they're shooting Shazam 2 in 2020, it seems like that will happen first. And I also don't know how booked up The Rock is, because The Rock is always doing something. So trying to find all the time with him is hard. So I think that in a perfect world, yes, you do Black Adam and then Shazam 2. I think in reality, you probably do, or we're probably going to get Shazam 2 and then Black Adam. But I think that's, and you could still make that work. I just feel like the added value of having The Rock in Shazam 2 will do wonders for the financial success of that film. But teasing Black Adam at the end of Shazam 2 is another way to go.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought was going to happen at the end of Shazam 1, and I still think it should have.
That's what we were all expecting, yeah.
Yeah, I still think it should have happened, but you can also go that way, is you can do a Dwayne Johnson cameo in Shazam 2 to then set up the Black Adam film.
Yeah, and then you have
that seems more likely.
And then like the capper on, say, the Shazam trilogy could be Shazam versus Black Adam.
Yeah, it's true. When
Well,
all the kids,
we've just solved the problem.
God, we're so good at this.
Just worked it out.
Next stop, Comic-Con. Look out, here we come. But yeah,
I guess by the third one too, a way you could get around the kids being so old too is you could kind of, have them as their superhero counterparts for the majority of the film.
Well, I was gonna say you don't have to pay the extra actors, I guess.
No.
Although I love all those actors that they got for the grown-up kids. They were so good.
Great. Yeah.
Because what I loved about that is they didn't pick nobodies. They picked real actors for pretty small parts to play the grown-up versions. And I'm sorry, this is spoiling the shit out of Shazam, but if you're a DC fan, you should have gone.
You've seen it.
And if you haven't gone, shame on you, because it's delightful. But yeah, like the fact that they got really good actors to play relatively small parts of the grown-up versions of the kids mean they can use them. And I think that, honestly, I think that's why they did cast them, is because they're like, oh, we're only going to see more of them. We'd better get actors who can handle it.
You can pull it off, yeah.
So it is crazy how it all works, Black Adam, sort of a spin-off of Shazam, hopefully coming down the pike. I'm looking forward to it. But while we're waiting for Aquaman 2, there's another spin-off that's still potentially happening of The Trench.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the third Annabelle just came out in the States last week. I'm heartbroken because I can't see it, because China
really?
does not.
It's out here, I think.
I know. China does not like their R-rated horror movies.
Okay.
So I can definitely go see all the big PG-13 blockbusters here. But horror, I'm pretty much stuck waiting, which makes me sad because I love horror.
I'm just hearing another excuse to come over here.
I know. Well, I'm super excited for It Chapter 2 in September. And I'm sure it's not going to be released in China. So I'm like, maybe I spend a weekend in Hong Kong that week. Go see it there. Can you imagine flying to Hong Kong, go to the movies, fly back?
Yeah. Do it.
Because like okay, Annabelle 3, I do want to see it, but you know what? I can wait a few months. It's not the end of the world. But like It Chapter 2, no, like I want to see that opening night. Anyway, point is, Annabelle 3 came out, James Wan, producer, and so he's out there doing press for it, and someone did ask him about The Trench. And so here's what he said about The Trench. He said, we're still deep in sort of crafting the script, crafting the story right now, so I don't want to get into that too much, but definitely it's one that I really want to lean into the horror of it. So it's going to play more as a monster horror movie than it will a superhero film, but it's definitely part of the Aquaman world.
Huh. I missed this story completely.
I mean, because there's not a lot of meat there. It's just, hey, it's still happening, we're still working on it, and it's more horror than it is superhero, which... duh.
I think it's the whole point.
Yeah. And then the producer also chimed in. He said, Peter Safran, and this was this was earlier this year. This was not the same interview. He said, "We always, even from the early concept art days, loved the idea of the trench." This was in March. He said, and then when audiences embraced it in the movie the way they did, particularly the ant farm shot where the camera follows the trench following Arthur and Mara down into the deep, we just knew we had something special there, and we knew what the movie should be. And consequently, I suspect that that's one that will come out significantly before Aquaman 2.
Oh, wow, they're going to push it. Like before, to try and get it out before Aquaman 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same way the Conjuring universe has worked. Is we still don't have Conjuring 3, but we've got Annabelle 3, So,
yeah. And the Nun's part of that too, isn't it?
Yeah, and the Nun. Yeah, so and it makes sense. The Trench is going to be a smaller movie. It's probably going to be a cheaper movie. James Wan's not going to direct it himself. He's going to hire one of his little horror proteges like he did for all these Conjuring films. He's going to get one of them to direct it. And so it makes sense that this will be able to move through production a lot faster than Aquaman 2.
Right. I still haven't seen any of the Conjuring movies. I'm thinking maybe this year for Scarathon I might dive in.
I think that is a great idea. They're really good because James Wan directed both Conjuring films, and they're amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, you know me, I was never really a horror guy, but the last couple of Halloweens with the real fan Scarathons, I've kind of, thrown off the shackles a bit, and I've watched a lot of shit the last 2 years that I wouldn't have touched prior to that. So I think this year I might dive into the Conjuring universe.
Have you watched Dead Silence yet?
Yeah, I watched that last year.
Oh, did you? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Especially for you.
Yay! The James Wan underdog that I've been preaching about for I think the better part of a decade now, and I've converted many people to it, and I feel like James Wan owes me $20 is the point.
Probably.
At least. Okay, so anyway, The Trench. Very intrigued to see how this develops, but it was just interesting to hear James Wan go on record about it.
Yeah, I you know me, I'm up for if it comes out with the DC label on it, I'll go and see it.
Right. But it also said it's definitely part of the Aquaman world. I still hope that means that even though it's a Trench movie, that we're gonna get. I don't expect Jason Momoa to show up, but no. It would be a great time to introduce Garth or Calder, something like that,
Yeah, I mean, you could even go Nicole Kidman, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you still want those little ties to the greater DC universe, and I think that's cool. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting to see. So James Wan talked about that. Something else James Wan talked about that Jamie and I didn't quite get into a couple episodes ago, but Jamie and I, a few episodes ago, we reviewed the pilot to Swamp Thing. Mm-hmm. And we are now 5 episodes into Swamp Thing on DC Universe, which means we're halfway through, which is sad because I'm like, oh, I know it's going to end and I'm going to be so sad. But that aside, I'm loving the show. Are you caught up yet, or are you still...
I've still only seen the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's not really my kind of show, but again, I'm watching it because, I mean, you guys are, and it's DC Universe, so I have liked what I've seen, but honestly, I think because I know we're only getting the 1 season, I don't feel like I have a timer on it. Like I can sort of get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to rush because season 2 comes out in 6 months,
Right. I do think that it's, it is sad that knowing that it's only going to be this, at least for now, things can happen, but it does seem to sap the excitement around it, which is really sad because, like you said, you're like, there's no rush, and I do wonder how many other people feel that way, of being like, oh, it's already canceled, I'll watch it eventually.
I mean, to be fair, they're not getting any money from me for it, so...
Oh, that's true.
It's not going to make any difference to them.
Because I feel like that happened with the Netflix Marvel shows, is like, when those shows premiered, people were all about them, and then as soon as everybody knew that, like, they were all going to end, like... Jessica Jones just released a new season, and I haven't heard a single person mention it.
There's been nothing.
Like, even Daredevil Season 3 came and went, and people went, oh, it was good. And I was like, oh, shit, Season 3 already came out? Like, I didn't even know.
That reminds me of the con I was at last week. I so forgot to show you guys. I got a photo of a cosplayer sitting on the ground in the Daredevil costume, like the black, like the basic costume that he wore in season 1, just holding a cardboard sign that says "We'll fight crime" for a 4th season.
Well, there you go.
That was pretty funny.
But yeah, so like I feel like, you know, knowing that shows are canceled or they're not coming back, people sort of move on prematurely, and I'm afraid that's what's happening with Swamp Thing because it's really sad that the headlines are about it being canceled and not about how good the show is. Yeah, because the show's great.
It is
really
good.
Great.
Like the stuff I've seen, I've really liked. I just haven't. Honestly, I haven't really had the time to sit down and watch it yet, but I'm sure I know I'll catch up before the season ends anyway.
Yeah, you should, because I've been watching them as they come out, and it's amazing. Like, I love this show, and so the word came out. You know, it already been rumored. Like, we knew that the episode count had been cut from 13 to 10. We all still sort of held out hope that, like, okay, it was a budget thing. As long as the show's successful, it doesn't mean we won't get a season 2. And then word came out that nope. It's canceled. Like, it's not coming back. And so a couple weeks ago, that hit the fan, and there was all this argument and anger about, like, what the hell happened? Why is it canceled? And people were like, oh, maybe the show's bad. And the show came out, and like, nope, the show's great. So really there's no good reason for that to be the case. And so there was a lot of confusion around that, a lot of rumors about why it got canceled. Speaking to James Wan, who is an executive producer on the show, he addressed it on Instagram. Here's what he said. He said, I don't really know or understand why Swamp Thing was canceled, but I can tell you this. All the cast and crew, the producing writing team poured their hearts into this. I'm really proud of everyone's hard work. Go watch episode 2 and immortalize these 10 episodes. Swampy deserves it. So even he claims to not know what happened, and there are a lot of conflicting discussion as far as what did happen. One that came out that everyone kind of grabbed onto, myself included, because it made sense, is that there was an issue with the tax credits that they were promised from North Carolina.
Yeah.
So that sort of went viral as like, oh, here's what happened. It was in the local North Carolina news, but it didn't really make its way out to nationwide, is that they were promised essentially tax credits for half the budget of the show. So the show's budget was $80 million for 13 episodes. And there was an issue, and they were promised $40 million, and then they didn't get the $40 million. And so now they're in the hole, which is why they cut the episode order short and why they're not going to come back. Everyone went, oh, that makes sense. That's a reason to cancel a show. It's not great. It sucks. It's a business, though, and I get it. And then that was debunked later by someone going, that's not true. The Swamp Thing was going to get the maximum tax credits, which was like 12 or 13 million.
Okay.
Not 40. And so everybody goes, oh, the tax credit thing is BS. And so I'm like, well, no, the debunking didn't say it was BS. The debunking said the numbers were wrong. So I will say that when that news came out, I was like, they were promised $40 million. That seems a lot. But if that was true, I would get why you would cancel it. Because if you were counting on $40 million or $40 million of tax credits that you didn't get, yeah, all of a sudden you're in over your head. But even so, even if the $40 million, which isn't correct, which makes more sense, because again, to me that feels huge.
It's a lot.
And it was the $12 million. That's still a sizable chunk.
Still a lot of money.
Yeah. And so if they were promised $12 million and that fell through, that still could have been enough to shut the show down.
For a non-network show.
But it's unclear if that's true. And then there was a rumor that came out, and this one I don't buy for a second. The rumor came out is that DC executives wanted the show to be more like the CW.
I did see that one.
And when it wasn't, they canceled it. That just reeks of bullshit to me.
I mean, have they watched Titans or Doom Patrol?
Like, exactly. Like, they knew what they were making. Come on.
Yeah. And you don't get James Wan, like, pretty much the modern-day king of horror at the moment, on as a producer. And, you know, wasn't he heavily involved with the first episode? for it to be PG-13 network friendly. Like, no, that's not what it is. It was never going to be that.
Right. And let's just use a little common sense here. Let's just use a little common sense. You want it, if you in theory wanted your show to be like, quote unquote, more like the CW, guess what? You heard the CW. Look, you heard the pitch for this version of the show. Mm-hmm. And you approved it.
Yeah, it's on.
Then you saw the pre-production for this show and you approved it. Then you read the scripts for the show and you approved them. Mm-hmm. You knew the show you were making. So you don't wait until you've produced almost the entire season and go, hey, I thought this was going to be like the CW. No, that's not how it works.
No.
You were there for every step of the way of the show, and you don't wait until it's done and go, but I wanted it to be like that. No, I'm sorry. So that reeks of bullshit of somebody who just was jumping on this controversy to try and get some traffic. They got some traffic. I just don't buy it.
I'm pretty sure I saw someone share that story, and the place that the article was written from, I'm not going to name them, but they seem to be creeping up more and more for just sensationalized headlines, like not based on any reality. And I've never clicked on their site for that reason. But if you follow these circles, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No. So that whole story reads like bullshit, and I'm kind of disappointed in how many fans took it as fact and was like, Warner Brothers is so stupid, everything can't be like the CW. I'm like, just step back and think about this for a second, because that doesn't make sense. Here's what makes sense. Here's my theory. Mm-hmm. Is that they haven't decided what to do with the DC Universe streaming service.
Yep.
And because they haven't decided what to do with it, they're not greenlighting anything new.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing through the commitments they made and announced, and then they're waiting to see what happens before they start anything new. So Titan Season 2 got lucky because it was first, and so it got greenlit immediately. Mm-hmm. But Doom Patrol came out, very successful. Everyone loved it. Great reviews, critically acclaimed. Apparently, its numbers were just a tick below Titans, but pretty negligible. No news on Season 2.
Which, I mean, is to be expected because, let's be honest, before that show came out, we knew sweet F all about those characters. It didn't have Robin and ties to the Batman world and stuff like Titans does and did. Like, Doom Patrol was never going to be... It could have been a show, well, some probably would argue, in terms of quality, a lot better than Titans, but it doesn't mean it was going to get as many eyes on screens.
Right. Yeah, it's a tougher sell, even though it's a terrific show. But even with being a tougher sell, it almost got the numbers Titans did. I saw a rundown and I saw the numbers, and they were not that different. But it's been very quiet about a second season.
Yeah.
Young Justice Season 3, we got the first half already. It was terrific. The second half is releasing next week. No reason to believe it won't be terrific as well, because the first half of the season was, but that's already in production. No word on another season. Mm-hmm. Swamp Thing, episode order gets cut short. It's very expensive. It's quote-unquote canceled. No plans for any more of Swamp Thing. They are making Stargirl, but it's already in production. But they already announced it. They already committed to it. So it seems to me, again, using common sense, is that they are unsure about the future of the DC Universe streaming service, and so they will not greenlight anything new until they get that figured out. And we know that WB is planning its own streaming service, just like Disney Plus, its own WB Plus, whatever they're going to call it. Everyone assumes DC Universe will get folded into that in some way, but the question is, in what way? The question is, will it get folded in wholesale, and all the content that's currently available on DC Universe will still be available just through the new WB service, or is it going to get pared down?
I hope not.
I hope not, too. I mean, my hope is that they put it in wholesale. It's the whole thing. I go onto the WB streaming service, I click the DC Universe link, and it essentially gives me everything that I currently can have.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, at that point, they'll probably see what the numbers are for the the subscription numbers and what the revenue is going to be for the WB streaming service, and see if they can afford to keep some of these shows going, because it still gives them original content to market to get new subscribers.
Yeah. Quick side note, when you mentioned Stargirl, did you see who wrapped her episode directing this week for an episode?
Yeah, Leah Thompson.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. That's so cool. But yeah, so that is the most logical explanation for all of this, is that nothing new DC Universe will get greenlit until they know what that looks like in relation to the WB streaming service.
This is something I saw the other day. I didn't read too much into it, so I don't know if it's just like fans wanting this to happen or if there's any word of it happening, but HBO picking up Swamp Thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, there were rumors that it could get picked up by either HBO or the CW.
I can't see CW touching it, not in its current format, and there's no change it.
Yeah, because the problem with all the DC Universe shows thus far have been they've been all R-rated.
Yeah.
So how do you do that on the
don't.
CW? The whole point is that's why they're on the DC Universe, is because they can go to those lengths and do their own thing. So yeah, I have a hard time picturing that on the CW, but HBO I could see. But again, I could also see it getting resurfaced once they figure things out with the WB streaming service, because the show is great. And I will say that the silver lining of all this is, what sucks and what's frustrating is we want to know we're getting more of all of this because we love it. But the silver lining is that we love it.
Yeah.
Like, thus far, every piece of original content I've gotten from DC Universe, Titans, Young Justice, Doom Patrol, now Swamp Thing, I've loved all of it.
It's been good.
It's some of the best DC content I've gotten in years. And I mean, I've loved a lot of the DC content, so what am I saying? But it's really great. All of these shows have been great. And so I'm super grateful that we have gotten these shows and they've been as good as they have been. And I just hope that they find a spot for them once they integrate into the greater WB service.
I can't wait for Harley Quinn, to be honest. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's coming soon too.
Yeah, that's this year.
So that's my hypothesis on what's happening.
Well, now that you've said it, that's not going to be what happens, right?
I know. Now that I've said it, they're going to come out publicly and go, "Oh, we just wanted it to be like the CW."
We're shit canning all of it.
So, anyway, that's my take on the Swamp Thing cancellation. I am pissed that it's been canceled because the show's awesome. I love it. And I love that for all three of the live action shows, they've all been very different. They all have a very different aesthetic, and they have a very different style and tone, but they've all been great. So, I don't know, I've just been really impressed.
Yeah, it's been really good.
And if them cutting the episode order means that I'm not going to get my Blue Devil, I'm going to riot. You will find me on the steps of WB with a torch.
Well, he's doing okay though. The actor who plays Blue Devil?
Ian Ziering?
Yeah, because I saw the other day he's reteaming with the director of Sharknado to do his zombie tsunami.
Oh, thank God.
So he's doing all right either way.
He's really good in the show too. You haven't gotten much of him probably because you're not.
Well, I haven't gotten to him. Actually, no. I saw a tiny part of him in episode 2.
I think you meet him in episode 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because he works at some. Is it a movie store or something?
Yeah, it's a video store.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did see him very briefly.
We're on episode 5. We're getting more of him. He's great. There's a really interesting story going on with him, but no, he has not become Blue Devil yet. So I'm like, if you screw me out of Blue Devil, there'll be hell to pay.
I see that. I won't spoil anything, but from what I've seen on Real Fans, there's another DC character we get in the latest episode, I think.
Yeah.
Which they kept that quiet. I don't remember that being announced that character was going to be in there.
I don't think so either. I mean, but they're embracing the dark side magic of the DC universe in this show, which is what gives it such a unique flavor. And the other thing that I got to point out is when we reviewed the pilot, I was like, oh yeah, there's certainly horror elements, but it's not too extreme. Now that I'm up till episode 5, no, I was wrong, and it's very extreme.
Oh, really?
And
so it goes more?
Oh, it's full on horrific. It's amazing because I like horror, but whew, there are some scenes, my friend.
Oh, nice.
They are gnarly, especially episode 4.
I might have to catch
Oh
up.
man, episode 4, dude. Ooh,
wow.
I was cringing, but it was good.
Nice.
So yeah, it's definitely and it's a perfect example of how you can do a superhero show that is a horror show, and it still can be both. And like I said, I'm loving this show. I will also say we mentioned Ian Ziering. He looks amazing. And then I tweeted this out. Jennifer Beals, she looks amazing. Like, neither of these are young people. I think they're both at least in their 50s, and they both have aged amazingly. So I just have to give that shout out. And then also on the latest episode, you get some flashbacks of Abby Arcane, and the young girl that they cast as young Abby Arcane is so spot on that I literally thought it was Crystal Reed. Yeah, I thought it was Crystal Reed de-aged.
Wow.
But it's not. And I was like, holy shit, like I don't know where you found this girl, but that's perfect.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about it now. I'm like, actually, you know what? Screw it. I've got 4 days, I think, till Stranger Things 3 hits. I can fit them in.
It's only 3 more episodes.
Yeah.
And they go by quick.
It's just hard because this is one I can't watch with Jess. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
So I've got to try and do it when she's not around. But she's not here for the rest of the day, so I might try and squeeze at least 1 or 2 episodes in.
See? Perfect. Episode of Swamp Thing. Go to the bathroom with the door open. Another episode of Swamp Thing. Rub one out. Another episode of Swamp Thing.
Well, I won't have time because I'm planning on going to Movie World, so...
You're going to Movie World. I'm so jealous.
There's something so.
Yes.
Actually, yeah,
Tweet photos.
Any Aussies who listen, for the next 2 weeks at Movie World, they've got a huge DC Heroes and Villains event on every night with a big superhero parade, and it's essentially celebrating 80 years of Batman as well. Like, they're bringing back all the classic villains and parading all the Batmobiles, and they're doing events throughout the day as well, but I want to see this big parade more than once, so I'm going to go see it tonight and then go for a whole day in another week or 2. But yeah, so if you're in Australia and this part of the world, go check it out. It looks really cool. I'll post photos. I'll give Andy to post photos, or I'll tweet them or something.
I know. So jealous. Well, have fun.
I will.
Anyway, before we completely move on from the DC universe, we did mention that Stargirl is currently in production. The pictures of Stargirl herself, she looks perfect. Those are really, those have been a couple months, but yeah, like she looks amazing. But the latest rumor is that Solomon Grundy is also going to show up in Stargirl.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I do love that
third live action Solomon Grundy.
Oh my God, you're right. I do love that the other thing about these DC Universe shows, like Swamp Thing, is they're like, yeah, it's a Swamp Thing show, but we're bringing in Blue Devil, or it's Doom Patrol, but we're bringing in Cyborg and Flex Mentallo. I love that they're not afraid to fold in other characters from the universe, and it just seems that Stargirl's going to do the same, which is exciting. And I know a certain swamp zombie from Indiana who's going to be very excited about Solomon Grundy.
Yeah. He should totally cosplay as that character for Halloween or something.
I know, right? I don't even think he'd have to make himself white. He's already pretty damn white.
Yeah.
He should. He'd be a good Solomon Grundy. Anyway, one last...
Depending on what mood you get him in what day, he wouldn't need to change much at all.
That's true, exactly. So yeah, one last thing before we finally get to emails is, and this is new. This is new news. So sorry for all the old news, but still, hopefully you guys enjoy the chat. New news is that Batman, the best superhero character ever in history, is the first superhero that is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Very happy about this. Surprised it's not happening this year, but still very happy about it.
I know. So that's pretty awesome. Very first superhero. It is great news. I think it is so cool. Next time I go home, it will be my first stop. I don't know when they're actually going to install it. It just says for 2020. So maybe it'll be early next year.
Am I remembering correctly too that Burt Ward's getting one as well?
Yes, he is.
Yes, I thought because I thought there was two Batman, centric stars that were getting released.
Yeah, good call. So yeah, I hope they put Burt Ward somewhere near Adam West because that would be awesome. It's appropriate. And then Batman is getting his own. So there are some fictional characters that already have them. Mickey Mouse has one.
Kermit has one. Am I remembering that?
I think so. Yeah, Bugs Bunny I think has one.
Yeah.
So I just think it is amazing that Batman is getting one, and it is wholly appropriate that Batman should get the first one.
Yeah. So
although I tweeted this out and I was like, oh, this is great, Batman, yeah. And people can't just go, oh, that's great. People got to go, well, what about Superman? Well, what about Wonder Woman? What about Spider-Man? Why not them? And I'm like, give it time. Like,
you've
Batman's
just
getting
said
it.
Batman is the first superhero to get one, so
Yeah.
it's right there in the headline, guys.
The rest, all in due time. So I think it's awesome. I can't wait to see what they do for the ceremony and to see who shows up for the ceremony.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
So I think they're gonna wheel out Bob Kane's corpse, and then everyone's just gonna take a whack at it with a big stick.
Well, actually, you
like
joke,
a piñata.
You would have to imagine that Athena Finger would be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you'll get like Ralph Garman and
Kevin Smith.
Athena Finger and Kevin Smith, exactly, Kevin Conroy. But like, will Michael Keaton show up? Will Christian Bale show up?
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet. Like it would be cool. Again, scheduling and stuff, it'd be hard, but it would be cool to get all your live action Batmans there. I mean,
God! Oh, could you imagine? That would be amazing if it was Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson.
The Earth would move on its axis.
Like, that photo would be amazing.
You and I would need to wear stretchy pants, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like, that would be amazing if they would. And I feel like they all would if they, as long as schedules lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's...
The only person I think who probably wouldn't would actually be Clooney.
But the thing is he seems happy to talk about it every time someone asks.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think he would mind.
It would be pretty sweet. And, throw
He has a good sense
of
humor about it.
It'd be. I mean, I'm pie in the sky here. I mean, God, they could never get all 6 Bonds in the same room before Roger Moore passed away, so I can't imagine them getting all the Batmans, but we can dream.
I know. I mean, and it's sad that Adam West is no longer with us because he should be there too.
He would have gone.
But, yeah. He totally would have gone. But it's a shame that he's already passed because, if it could have been Adam West plus then everyone else, man, would have been amazing. So we'll see. I know that's pie in the sky, but now that you've said it out loud,
it's not going to happen.
I'll be disappointed if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, next time I go home to visit, whenever this happens, it will be a stop on the way.
Yeah.
I'll go see the Batman star, and then I'll go to Mel's Drive-In, get a big greasy cheeseburger. So exciting times, and lots to talk about. So much.
It's been what? How long are we going now? We haven't even hit emails yet.
An hour and 24 minutes.
Okay. Geez, I won't have time to rub one out. I'll have to go straight to Movie World from here.
Well, just do it on the way.
Actually, I'm going to see a big Batman parade, so it'll probably be after.
Or do it at Movie World.
Unassisted.
But then you'll never be welcome back.
It'll be like Flex Mentallo's right there.
Especially if they parade out that Batman Forever card, you'll just be like,
which
oh. There you go.
I saw on Instagram. They're parading all the Batmobiles out.
Anyway, good stuff. Thanks for hanging out with us and catching up on news. But now we're going to check in with you fine folks as we crack open the Wayne Manor Mailbox. It's time again for Wayne Manor Mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. Says all, Master Wayne.
All right, first message here is from our pal and your pal, Julian Chan.
Oh, I met Julian for the first time last week in person.
I know. How weird.
Lovely guy. I love
That's
seeing
awesome.
on the Real Fans group, occasionally when people who only know each other through this group, who, geographically don't live in the same place, when they meet up and get together. It was the first time we were able to do it. It was nice.
Yeah, see? Someday you and I will meet.
We will.
And the world will never be the same. Okay. No, I think that's so cool that you guys were able to get together. So here's what Julian says. He says, hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Now that Robert Pattinson has been cast as Batman, I guess we'll be engaging in our favorite game, fan casting. I thought I'd mix it up and ask, who would you cast in the Batverse if you could pick any actor or actress from any era?
Oh.
And he said, here are my picks. And then, okay, here's what he's got. He's got Zac Efron as Dick Grayson / Robin, Clint Eastwood as Batman, David Niven as Alfred, Sam Elliott as Commissioner Gordon, Saoirse Ronan as Batgirl. Oh, that's just kissing up to Jamie. Ava Green as Catwoman, Ray Liotta as Two-Face, John Malkovich as Mr. Freeze, Rita Hayworth as Poison Ivy,
Ooh.
Vincent Price as the Joker, Joe Pesci as the Penguin. I think that's it. Wow. Oh, God, what did I just do? Fun choices, Julian. I like a lot of those. As for, this would take some thinking about.
We did do a fan casting episode, didn't we?
We did, but that was all
just for
current.
villains, yeah.
And that was current. That was like,
Yeah.
For the DCEU. I did think it'd be kind of fun to revisit it now that the Batman is moving forward. But I just feel like about a lot of my answers still might stay the same.
Yeah, like one that I couldn't throw out because we already had a Gordon for that episode is I think John Goodman would be a really good Commissioner Gordon.
Huh. That's interesting. I could see that. I think that if we're doing any era, 20 years ago, John Goodman should have been Harvey Bullock.
Yes, true. Very true. Because just based on Red State, I don't know. I reckon he could play a really serious Gordon and be really good.
No, I agree with that. I think that would be good.
I'm still with Anna Kendrick for Batgirl.
Yeah, I'm totally on board for that.
Is it Daisy Ridley? The rumor is that they're looking at her. I don't know how justified that rumor is or not, but
I saw that on Twitter, but I have no idea where that came from. Yeah. So I don't know. I always thought old school Cary Grant would have been a great Batman. Mm-hmm. If we're going old.
Yeah. I'm still Emma Stone for Poison Ivy.
I'm still oh God, her name's escaping me. I can see her face.
I just reckon Emma Stone and Margot Robbie together in a Harley and Ivy movie would just be so good.
I agree. I think that in the 90s, I still thought Demi Moore should have been Poison Ivy.
Yep.
I think she would have been so good, but unfortunately, that was not the way it went.
No. I'm just trying to think who else. I'm terrible. With it, spur of the moment for these sort of things, I'm terrible. I need time to think. homework.
Yeah,
I need to do homework.
totally. Obviously, I agree with the Zac Efron, Dick Grayson thing, but although I think it's finally happened where he's officially aged out of Dick Grayson territory for me.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess with Robert Pattinson, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's I've finally given up on that dream. I think that when there was going to be a Nightwing movie a few years ago, I think that yes, he would have been perfect, but it's been a few years now. I think that he's finally more of a man than a young man, and I think that ship has sailed.
Marvel.
Natalie Dormer. That's what I was trying to come up with. Natalie Dormer for Poison Ivy. My new choice for Nightwing, BT Dubs, Nick Jonas.
Oh, okay, I can see that too.
I don't mean to pick Disney kids, but he's
for Midway the other day.
But he's grown into quite a good actor, and like you saw him in like Jumanji. I'm like, no, he could be Dick Grayson.
Yeah, no, he's got the look for it too. I could totally see that.
I think that one of the rumored Jokers for 1989, Tim Curry, would have been great.
Yeah. Well,
if it had gone down that road, yeah. And I still want to hear that.
Yeah, so do I. It's got to exist somewhere.
Right. Yeah, you would think so. Anyway, thanks, Julian. Good options. All good options.
I think that's going to be a future episode.
Yeah. So, especially if you're going from every era, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But my big one's always been Cary Grant as Batman. I think he could have been awesome.
I'd love to hear his Batman voice.
All right, next message here is from Robert Reinecke. It says, hey guys, I'm sending an email to get your thoughts on WB deciding not to do Hall H at Comic-Con. I certainly get it from a dollars and cents perspective, but I'm also going to miss Andy's recap, even if he wasn't going to be there this year. I'm guessing this is the end because WB certainly has films to promote, including It Chapter 2, Joker, and a look at Wonder Woman 1984. Certainly films that would have played to the crowds. It appears that AT&T is going to have much more focus on the bottom line, which seems right in line with them unexpectedly pulling the plug on Filmstruck. Do you think that the new ownership can be convinced to also place some value on shaping the culture around them that purchases their products, or is it simply something we can chalk up to being nice while it lasted? Have a great day, Robert Reinecke. P.S. How do you like the new Swamp Thing show? Asking for a friend who has a Swamp Thing podcast. Thanks, Robert. Good to hear from you. And yes, Robert does have a Swamp Thing podcast. For those of you who want more Swamp Thing talk, I think it's just called Swamp Things. Check that out. And then I think that we kind of covered this, but
I was just saying, I don't really have any strong opinions either way.
I hope what happens is they skip Hall H this year, and then they get a horrible case of FOMO. Fear of missing out, and they're like, shit, we weren't part of the conversation this year. You know what? Next year, we'll be back. I think that is what would spark them to return, is they see what happens this year, and they're like, well, crap, they could have been talking about us, and now they're not. But, yeah, I mean, I think that right now I think it's a 50-50 shot as to whether or not they'll return or not.
You almost think they'd have to at some point. It's become such a big deal. Anyway, we've covered that territory.
Right. I know. All right. So, and then we did talk about Swamp Thing. I think it's amazing. And Brendan's got to catch up.
Yeah. I just need to decide if I'm going to do that or do something else before I go to Movie World.
Right. All right, next message here is from Joseph Stewart. It says, hey, Holy BatCast family, how you guys doing? Hope all is well. Is there a chance that you could review the Holy Batmania documentary? It talks about the history of Batman from his creation in 1939 all the way up to Batman 89, with clips from Batman 66 on an episode. Joseph, yeah, I would love to do that.
You know what? I actually own that. I have it on DVD.
I have it on DVD too, but that is in a box in the United States. So if I can find it online somewhere, then yeah, I love that idea. I think that would be really fun.
I bought that on my first trip to America in 2006.
Wow. Yeah, I think that would be really fun to do. That's something that should be on the DC universe. They have some of those documentaries, but I don't think they have.
You know
that
what
one.
we should do? We should do. I can't remember if you have or not, but we should do a review on Return to the Batcave.
Ooh, definitely.
That would be
Absolutely.
a good one. I like that movie.
Yeah, it was fun.
It is a good
So
time.
no, I could do that too. That's a good call. Write these down. All right, next message is from Willis Orr. It says, greetings with the recent release of the final X-Men movie. Is it okay if you can answer a question about X-Men? Would Bob Hoskins, who played Eddie Valiant in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, have been great as Wolverine? He was rumored as a choice to play Wolverine before Hugh Jackman was cast. Willis, thank you for the message.
Before Doug Ray Scott was cast.
Right. I certainly remember that. I don't know how true that rumor was, but I remember it being out there. I can't picture it.
No.
I mean, I love Bob Hoskins, but he just didn't feel like Wolverine to me. So no, I have a really hard time picturing it. I think he was a great actor.
He was older.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure that was if he was really the first choice to play Wolverine, but yeah, he wouldn't have been my choice.
No, and honestly, after his experience with Super Mario Brothers, I don't think he would have done it anyway, because that was a time, you got to remember, where comic book movies weren't surefire things.
Yeah, but I mean, what went wrong with Super Mario Brothers?
Well, depends on who you ask, I guess.
It's the best video game movie. All right, next message is from Alex De Silva. It says, hey, what are the lyrics to the Wayne Manor Mailbox theme? I've been trying to decipher them for weeks, and there are some parts that are just unintelligible for me. For example, I don't think Harley is saying a lamp, a leaf in that one part, but that's what it sounds like. Thanks, Alex. That's a great question, Alex. I don't know what Harley is saying in that part because I didn't create the theme. That is our friend and listener Gaurav Venkateswar who created it for us, who's amazing. So Gaurav, if you're listening, what is Harley saying in that point? I think everything else you can pretty much hear. Like you hear Robin say hysterical, and you hear Alfred say, "That's all, Master Wayne." I feel like everything else you can kind of make out.
You're a hell of a messenger line in there as well.
Yeah, you're a hell of a messenger. But yeah, Gaurav. I hope Gaurav's listening, or I should have emailed him. I can email him too and go, "Hey, can you give us a rundown of what you put in there?" I think most of it I think I know. It's just that it is that Harley line. I don't know what she's saying. So sorry, I don't have your answer, but hopefully I can get it for you. All right, next message here is from Odile Jones. It says, hey guys, I've got two questions. Number one, if a musician was going to produce a full soundtrack for any DC movie like Prince did for Batman 89, or Kendrick Lamar did for Black Panther, who would you want it to be and for which hero? For me, in a dream world, Beyonce for Vixen, AC/DC for Lobo, and someone like Charlie Puth for Nightwing. Number two, I don't know if you watch her stuff, but Grace Randolph, the YouTube movie critic commentator, claimed a while ago that her sources at WB told her that WW84 is going to be a soft reboot, a bit like Flashpoint, where essentially Diana is going to change the DCEU timeline. Her source claims that how they will course correct and explain the younger Batman and potentially new Cyborg, Flash, etc. What do you think? You guys are awesome. I love listening to you, Odile. Odile, thank you for the message. All right, a concept album from an artist for a DC hero.
Well, I know yours
Brandon.
is going to be Neil Diamond and Dolly Parton.
I mean, it is
in a
now.
duet.
It is now.
Or
I think
Queen,
Dolly
Queen
Parton
with Adam
doing
Lambert.
it. Yes, Dolly Parton could do a full album for Wonder Woman.
Actually, you're going to say Hanson, aren't you?
Oh, see, yeah, Hanson should do an album for Nightwing.
See, I don't know if a lot of people are going to know who I'm going to say. I know you know who I'm going to say, but I would say Darren Hayes and I don't know. I'm thinking Wonder Woman, but I don't know. Because it'd have to be something sort of upbeat and poppy.
I could just see Darren. I could see Darren Hayes doing the Flash.
Yeah, no, I could see that. That's someone, yeah, because he can do sort of experimental electronic stuff too. Yeah, him doing anything, I'd be happy with, but because Andy knows I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I don't know. I've reached that age now where I don't listen to current music. I've become the person who I always swore I wouldn't. Modern music is just shit to me.
Here's a secret: we all do.
Yeah,
we all say we're not going to do that, and then we do that. It's so sad. I will also throw out another one. Just one of my favorites is Fall Out Boy, and so I say they could do Batman. Why not?
Okay.
And then Wonder Woman 1984 resetting the timeline. I have a hard time believing that. She's not like a time travel-y character, and I don't see her changing the timeline. I think that they're just going to make whatever changes they want, and just hope people go with it.
I saw something yesterday, and again, this is probably just, fan theory stuff, but like, I heard too it was meant to have something to do with Wonder Woman 84, and because they still can't work things out with Ezra Miller, that they're going to move forward, but have Wally West as the new Flash in the DC movies and stuff. So who knows? Look, if they can do it and it's done well and it's not shoehorned in and it makes sense, cool, whatever. If it doesn't, don't touch it.
Yeah, I know. I would not be surprised to see them going with Wally West, because then it doesn't really contradict what came before.
Yep.
So that's an easy way to do it. But who knows? Again, right now it's all these rumors flying, and I just don't know what to believe. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten so cynical that I don't believe any of them. I just feel like everyone's full of crap.
Yeah.
That's why, unless it comes from like Variety or the Hollywood Reporter, my response is always like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next message here is from Ian Jacobs. It says, hey, I love the show and I appreciate all the hard work you put in. With the recent cancellation of Swamp Thing and no real updates on Doom Patrol, how worried are you about the state of the DC universe? And what do you think they're doing wrong, if anything? Keep up the great work. Ian, thank you for the message. We sort of covered this, and I think, it's pretty well covered. I don't know if they're doing anything wrong, but I do think that DC is much more of a niche audience than something like Netflix or the upcoming Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like maybe they just overestimated how many people would pay for a DC only service.
Well, if they made it available in more than one country.
I know. I agree with you. I've seen a lot of people say that, and I don't disagree. But I will also say, having worked at Warner Brothers on the international availability rights of all their assets, it is a shit show. Uh-huh. And not because they're doing something wrong, but that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Is Batman 89 might be available for streaming in the States, and it might be available in Japan, but not until August. And then it might be available in China next year. And then it's not available in Australia for 2 years, but it's available in Norway starting in February, but only for 2 months. And it is a mess. And that's just the way it works, because they license these movies and shows and assets to different entities in different places. So maybe in the UK, it's licensed to HBO for 2 years, but in Australia, it's not. So it can be available in Australia, but not in the UK.
Years ago, before streamlined streaming services even existed.
Yeah, and trying to manage all of that so that way your DC universe has Batman, but mine doesn't. But Lee Malaby's in the UK has Wonder Woman, but his Wonder Woman ends next month, but my Wonder Woman lasts for 6 months. Like, imagine trying to manage it.
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. So that's a little bit of a tangent about the worldwide thing. I agree with you. In a perfect world, yes, everything would be available to everyone everywhere. I agree. Not how it works. But I do think that that's, I don't think that's what they're doing wrong, but I do think that, only so many, the fan base that will pay for only a DC service is a much smaller group of people than the fan base that will pay for Netflix. And so I also don't see a problem with DC Universe charging more because it's for the people who are really passionate. Audience. Yeah, it's a smaller audience. It's more of a specialty service. So I just think maybe there's just not as many DC fans who will pay a monthly fee. And I think that I don't know how those numbers work out to create shows with the quality that they've been creating that can't be cheap based on the subscriber base. And so what I'm hoping is when it gets folded into WB, that subscriber base is going to be much broader and will allow them more money to then keep these shows rolling. That's my hope.
I hope so too, because I want more of it. And again, I'd love to be able to pay for it, but at this point, I don't care how I get it as long as I can watch it.
Right. So next message is from Mark Jurasevic. It says, "Hey guys, I enjoyed your podcast about the Swamp Thing pilot. It's such a disappointment that a show of this caliber and originality will only grace us for 10 episodes. I've got a couple questions. I feel like we might have covered these, but hey, it's all good. It says, if the series is popular, do you think that DC would think of incorporating the characters, such as Blue Devil, into other shows like Doom Patrol? 2, there was a Doom Patrol episode in which Robot Man goes to a swamp in search of an alligator. What do you think those set in the same swamp as Swamp Thing? And 3, in your last episode, you talked about The Strain. I thought this series was great. What are your overall thoughts? 4, I recently watched The Conjuring 1 and 2 and The Nun on an international flight, and I kept waking the person next to me every time I jumped. I'm now a fan. What are your rankings of the movies in this universe? Thanks for your time. Now I'm going to have Tennessee Bourbon to console myself about Swamp Thing. Regards, Mark." Mark, always good to hear from you. Thank you for the message. Okay, let's take these one at a time. Incorporating the Swamp Thing characters into other DC shows, Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, why not? It could work if the actors are up for it. If they're not going to get their own show, do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's certainly possible, and there's nothing that stops them from doing it. So
worked for Constantine.
Yeah, no reason why not. Robot Man goes to the swamp. Do you think it's the same swamp as Swamp Thing? I don't.
Probably not.
I don't. I think it could. They could have made it that way, but there's nothing that leads me to believe that that's the case. The Strain, I never watched The Strain, so that would be more of a Jamie question.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. And then ranking the Conjuring films, well, you were just saying you haven't watched them, have you?
Nope.
All right, so let's see if I can do this. I would say number 1 is The Conjuring 2, which might be controversial, but I like it a little better than Conjuring 1. So Conjuring 2 is number 1, then Conjuring 1. Then I would say Annabelle Creation, which is great. So, Brendan, add that to your Scarathon too.
Oh, no, I'd be watching all of them.
Okay. Annabelle Creation is David Sandberg, who did Shazam. And it's amazing. So those 3 are all great. Conjuring 1 and 2 and Annabelle Creation are all great. I would rank them Conjuring 2, Conjuring 1, Annabelle Creation. Then I would say Annabelle the first, and then The Nun last.
So what, for someone who hasn't seen them, what order should they be watched in?
That's an excellent question. If you want to make it easy for yourself, just watch them in release order.
Okay, I'd need to do some Googling.
Everything's pretty clear.
Right.
So that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to watch, if you wanted to do it in timeline order, I think it would be Nun, Annabelle Creation, Annabelle, Conjuring 2.
Okay.
So almost in reverse. Almost.
And what's the latest one? Annabelle Comes Home.
And Annabelle Comes Home is the latest one, which I have not seen yet, so I can't rank it yet. That one I think takes place between Annabelle and The Conjuring. It takes Takes place between Annabelle and The Conjuring.
So this is the third Annabelle solo movie.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's funny how the Conjuring universe has like snuck in and become the most successful shared universe outside of Marvel.
Oh, shit, it would be too, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah. I don't know. Again, I say make it easy for yourself. Just watch them in release order.
Okay.
You'll get it.
I'll report back come October.
Cool. All right, Mark, thank you for the message. And Conjuring 2 is a Christmas movie, so you can watch that at Christmas.
Oh, nice. Although I would have just watched it at Halloween, so.
I know. Are you one of those weirdos that watches Gremlins at Halloween?
No.
No, there's some weirdos who are like, Gremlins. I'm like, no, like, Gremlins is so Christmassy. Like, I can't watch it at Halloween. It's so overtly Christmassy. Okay. Next message here is from Horace McNichol. It says, hey, Holy BatCast family, was Richard Pryor supposed to play Brainiac in Superman 3? He was the rumored villain in Superman 3, along with Mr. Mxyzptlk, played by Dudley Moore, and then Brainiac in Superman 3 would have been the adoptive father of Supergirl, played by Brooke Shields in that movie. Horace, thank you for the message.
Okay.
Brendan, any thoughts on that?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those things that I just don't know how true any of it is, you know? I'd certainly heard rumors that, like, Brainiac was supposed to be in Superman 3 and Supergirl and Mxyzptlk. I've heard that. So I guess I kind of buy that. I think Dudley Moore would have been an amazing Mxyzptlk. I just don't think Richard Pryor could have played Brainiac. So my guess is that when they decided not to go with Brainiac, then Richard Pryor was cast as a new character, which is who he played. I can't picture Richard Pryor being Brainiac. Unless it was Brainiac in name only, you know?
Yeah,
like the
I don't
Mandarin.
know. The less said about Superman 3, the better, I guess.
Yeah. Next message here is from Tommy Sanders. It says, hey, Bat family, I know you guys know about the Batman poll that was in the Hollywood Reporter. I'd like your thoughts on the ranking that shows George Clooney above Ben Affleck as a favorite Batman, with Clooney in third place. Tommy, thank you for the message. Yeah, we've all seen this. This is insanity.
Val Kilmer was last, so I call bullshit from to begin with.
That's the one thing they got right.
Oh, piss off.
It's the one thing they got right. Is the only Batman actor who looked like he didn't want to be playing Batman. So I think the poll was like Christian Bale number 1, Michael Keaton number 2 with like a 1% difference, then George Clooney, then Ben Affleck, and then Val Kilmer at the bottom. But I think that there was like some sleight of hand there in that So number 1, yes. Like, do I agree with those rankings? Of course not. That's insanity. Like, we all have our own personal rankings. None are wrong. None are right. Except the only one wrong would be putting Val Kilmer first. Like, that, absolutely wrong.
I don't have him first, but he's definitely not last.
But like, everyone has their own ranking. It's subjective. It's fine. But yes. Like, do I believe that people went, oh yeah, George Clooney was a better Batman than Ben Affleck? No, I don't. I think what happened was they said, rank these 5 actors completely separate from Batman. I think they said, who do you like most? Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Ben Affleck. And that's what people voted on. And plus it was like 2,000 people that responded, like, which is not many people. And so, like, yes, if you rank them just as an actor, not as their performance as Batman, then the ranking makes more sense. So I just think that there was some shenanigans going on
the
there,
same people
which
had
resulted
one for
in
Catwoman, where Halle Berry came out at number 1. So,
well, and exactly, I think they did the same thing. They didn't say rank these performances as Catwoman. They said, oh, rank these 3 actresses.
Yeah. So that's
then they used it to troll us DC fans, and it worked because then we all shared it and we're like, this is nonsense.
I don't
think anyone in their right mind would say, well, George Clooney was a better Batman than Ben Affleck. You know, I just don't. All right, next message is from Stuart from Guernsey. It says, I watched The Dark Knight with my 9-year-old on Father's Day, and when it ended, he said, I didn't like that. I was shocked, as, like, as he likes everything, even Batman 66. I explained to him how big the movie was when it came out and that there was a wave of Batmania. It got me thinking, when it came out, we didn't really have comic movies that were taken seriously, only a few. But now there are so many that get adapted and the standard is so high. If that film was to come out now, do you think it would be as big as it was or spoken about as highly as it was 11 years ago? Also, do you think we'll see another wave of Batmania now that Batman isn't everyone's favorite superhero? The younger generation have grown up knowing so many other comic characters. I'm sure there's a massive amount of people who love The Flash or Aquaman more than Batman. Anyway, I thought I would see what you guys think. I hope you're getting settled in China, Andy. Stuart. Stuart, thank you for the message. Very interesting question.
I mean, is it too 9 years old? Can he put his son up for adoption? I'm not saying he didn't like The Dark Knight. I mean, there's grounds there, surely,
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about your son, Stuart.
Me too, the fact that he had to explain it to someone because he wasn't born when it came out. As you say, we're all going to die.
Yep. This is one of those things where, like, it's okay if my son is straight. It's okay if my son is gay. It's okay if my son likes comic books. It's okay if my son likes sports. It's not okay for my son to not like The Dark Knight.
Nope.
Anyway, do I think it would still be as acclaimed now as it was then? Oh, man, it's a good question. I would hope so, because I think that the quality of the film stands on its own. And I would hope so.
And it's hard to, because he said movies weren't, like, there weren't as many serious comic book movies back then, but it's because of that movie that we started getting all those serious, comic book movies. So it's hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, because so many of these movies are, like, a product of their time. And I've certainly seen people say that about Batman 89. It's like, oh, if it came out today, it would get ripped to shreds because of the liberties taken and everything like that. And that could be true.
It's true, yeah.
Because now everyone's got an opinion about comic book movies. And in 1989, everybody was like, it was the only comic book movie, for years. And people were just excited to see that movie. But now everybody's got an opinion, and people are just a little more, I don't know, fired up about it. So The Dark Knight, yeah, I mean, do I think it would be as universally acclaimed now? Maybe not, because it would now be compared to all the comic book movies that are happening right now. But again, I would hope that the quality of the film would be enough that it would still stand out from the pack and be as special as it was in 2008.
I hope so.
And then do we think we'll ever see another wave of Batmania? I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, because that's magical. I love Batmania. But you're right. It's tougher now because now it has to stand out amongst 100 comic book movies.
Yeah.
So it's got a tougher task to have Batmania the way there was in 1989 or even in 2008. But I don't think it's impossible. I still think it could happen.
I would hope so. Maybe not to the level that we've seen it before, but I'm sure it's still going to be there, to some extent.
Right. All right, cool. Next message is from Christopher Higgins. It says, hey, Bat fans, I wanted to mention that Batman's getting a star on the Walk of Fame. He'll be the first comic book character to join the All-Stars, which is a big mark in history for Batman and Bat fans alike. Experiencing and celebrating all things Batman in recent media is such a joy to me. Also, did you see the latest teases from Zack Snyder with his shots of Cyborg and Darkseid? I know y'all try not to drudge up old feelings, but now it's just fun to see what Zack Snyder will show us next from his Justice League cut. Your Bat friend, CJ Higgins. Thank you, CJ, and I love what you said about celebrating all things Batman is such a joy, and it should be, and I agree with you.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, we covered the Walk of Fame. We agree with you. That's amazing. Yeah, I do see the shots coming from Zack Snyder. Brendan, any thoughts on these?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's the what if factor. It looks cool. We don't need to get into that Snyder cut debate, whatever you want to call it, that's very prevalent online every friggin' day. The reality is we didn't get that movie. Are we ever going to get that cut? I don't know. I'm almost at the point where I don't care. I mean, I would obviously love to watch it, same as everyone, but I think it's to the point where people kind of need to move on, and including Zach, because it's feeding the beast, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yes, I've seen the stuff. It is a heartbreaker. I do wish that Zack Snyder had been able to make his movie, and it is a shame that that's not the movie we got, and who knows if that's a movie we will ever really get to see. But yeah, I'm just doing my best to move on, look to the future, keep moving forward, and hopefully they will learn from the mistakes of the past. But it is always interesting what ifs. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's just really sad that he didn't get to make his movie.
Yeah, ditto.
Next message is from Alvin Gross. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast family. In a recent interview, Joel Schumacher shared that if Batman Unchained had been made, George Clooney would not have reprised the role of Batman because Clooney was not happy with the response to Batman and Robin. Schumacher wanted Why? Schumacher wanted Kurt Russell to replace Clooney and to play Batman in Batman Unchained. What do you think of Kurt Russell as Batman, along with the cast that features Chris O'Donnell as Robin/Nightwing, Courtney Love as Harley Quinn, and Nicolas Cage as the Scarecrow? Could Joel Schumacher and Kurt Russell have saved the Batman franchise after the failure of Batman and Robin?" Brandon?
I do remember that rumor, actually. It was him and Mel Gibson were the two that I remember that were being talked about a lot. I mean, the damage is already done with Batman and Robin. I also think then it would have become a bit of a joke that, you had three different actors in three consecutive movies playing the same character. There was no coming back from Batman and Robin, let's be honest. As much as they were looking at that script and everything else, it died when that movie was released. So, I mean, look, he would have been a good Batman. Don't get me wrong. Like, in the 80s and 90s, Kurt Russell would have been a great Batman. I think he would have been... would have been a bit more of a grizzled Batman. I think we wouldn't have got the same characterization, I would hope, that we got from, Keaton, Kilmer and Clooney. But, yeah, it's another one of those what-ifs that, yeah, if it had happened, it probably could have been good if he was given the right material. But, again, we'll never know.
Yeah, I think he could have been a good Batman, but again, like, as soon as Batman and Robin came out, any plans for Batman Unchained died right then and there. So I think that the timeline to me doesn't work out. Like, unless Schumacher was trying to keep the project alive after Batman and Robin, maybe. And this was part of his pitch, was like, hey, and this is how even though Batman and Robin was a misstep, this is how we can resurrect it. We swap out Clooney. He doesn't want to do it anyway. Like, maybe. But yeah, I don't think I'd ever really heard this because, again, the plans for Batman 5 died as soon as Batman and Robin was released.
Yeah, I can remember reading something in 1999 in some magazine about Kurt Russell and Mel Gibson being the two that were considered to take over the role, and I worked in a video store at the time, and I did the thing of I got the covers and photocopied the cover of Lethal Weapon 4 and I think Breakdown, and then got the Nico out and drew the cowl on the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you heard it in 99, yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe, like, even though the franchise was dead, this was just one of the strategies to see if it was feasible to resurrect it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was hard to come back from Batman and Robin within that continuity. But would Kurt Russell have been a good Batman at a certain point? Yeah, I think so. I think he would have been really good.
You can even make an argument if they were to ever do a Dark Knight Returns that he'd be a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Well, and on the episode I did with Scotty, I threw him out there as a potential Jim Gordon for now.
That would work too, actually. I liked that. He was a hell of a Santa Claus, so...
Yeah, that's right. All right, next message from Hugh Morris. It says, hey guys, do you think that if they ever do another Justice League movie, they would go with the Legion of Doom and not Darkseid because of the success Marvel has had with Thanos. Most people don't know who Darkseid is and will just assume that it's a copy of Thanos, when it's just the opposite. I hope all's well in China and Indiana. Wishing you the best. P.S. Batman has no jurisdiction. Thank you, Hugh. I do think that. Absolutely. I think that's why the end credit scene of Justice League is what it is because Marvel got to Thanos first, and it would have been a challenge to make Darkseid stand out from Thanos, and so Legion of Doom is something they could have done that would have been completely fresh, that Marvel has not done, that would have made them stand out. So yeah, I think that would have been the way to go, and I think that's where they were planning on going if Justice League had done better.
Yep, agreed.
Sweet. Oh, another fan casting question. This is from Tim Lenig. It says, I've been listening to your podcast for years. Hands down, it's my favorite. This is the first time I'm writing in. I was wondering if you were going to talk about fan casting the Batman, who would you choose? I have one so far. I would pick Neil Patrick Harris as the Riddler. Thank you for the great show, Tim. Tim, great to hear from you after listening for years. It's amazing. Well, I will say NPH as the Riddler is something that I've wanted for a few years myself, so I completely support that choice. I think he would be terrific, and I'm all for it. We kind of talked about this earlier. We would love to fan cast the new Batman movie, but since you brought up the Riddler, are there any other potential Riddlers, Brendan? That
it's funny since the email from Julian, I was thinking, and I think that maybe Jimmy Stewart would have been a good Riddler back in the day.
Interesting.
That's one that popped into my head before. Sort of Vertigo era, but current day. Again, I'm terrible at this stuff without prep time. NPH is.
You're
always,
like Batman.
Yeah, I need prep time. Is always a go-to, and he'd be great. Again, with Pattinson, I think maybe he's aged out a little bit too. Yeah, we really need to do a fan casting episode, like with at least a week or two's prep, where we can really do some research, and because that was a fun episode when we were trying to do it for the DCEU. So there's no reason why we can't do it again.
Yeah, I agree. NPH, absolutely. I've definitely seen a lot of fans who want David Tennant. I support that as well.
Yeah, I can see that. That will work.
I think he's great. And then I guess I'll drudge up what I did in our DCEU episode because I still think he'd be great, is Edward Norton.
Yes. No, he'd be good as well.
But yeah, I guess fan casting the Batman should be on the list for when we can make schedules align with Jamie.
Yeah.
Although he's going to bring up Lawrence Fishburne as Ra's al Ghul.
Well, now he can, I guess, because...
Anyway, next message is from Weston Craig. Thank you guys for bearing with us. I want to clean out the Wayne Manor mailbox because MF is full. It says, hey guys, one of the earliest memories I have of Batman besides the animated series is Bat Monk. Oh my God, I forgot about this. It says you might have been too old when it came out, but maybe other listeners remember it. Bat Monk was a cartoon of Alvin and the Chipmunks where each were different characters from Batman. They sing a great rendition of the song Danger Zone. Listening to you and Scott made me think it might be something you'd want to check out. Thanks for the podcast. Keep it up. Weston, thank you for the message. You know what? I have never seen Bat Monk, but I definitely remember the VHS cover for it. Because you're right, I was probably just a little too old for it. Not that that's ever stopped me before. But I think in that era when it was released, I was just maybe a little too old to spend my hard-earned money on a copy of Bat Monk. But I would like to find it and check it out. Brendan, have you ever seen it?
You were too old for Bat Monk, you were saying? I, my friend, was not too old for Bat Monk. I can remember very clearly the Chipmunks Go to the Movies series. And
oh, that's what it was called. Yeah.
And it used to air on the ABC here of an afternoon around, I think it was around 93 was when it was airing here. And this particular day, it said they were going, like, the episode was Bat Monk, and I remember, like, racing out to grab Mum from the kitchen, and she threw in a VHS and recorded it. So I watched that a lot when I was a kid. And then I want to say in my early 20s, I found the actual VHS copy of it at a secondhand store somewhere. So I have it somewhere, but I can remember that show very clearly. Simon was Batman. Alvin was the jokester. And what's the other chipmunk's name?
Theodore.
Theodore was Alfred. And one of the
poor Theodore.
One of the female chipmunks was Nikki Nail. But
wow,
yeah, that would be worth revisiting actually. If we were to do an episode on it, because yeah, I do have fond memories of that from my childhood, and we ended up after that episode, I ended up recording like a heap of them, and I remember there was the Indiana Jones one, the one they did for Big. There was a few other ones, but yeah, I can very clearly remember Batmonk.
Wow. They didn't, but they should have sang Bat Dance. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. They probably didn't want to pay Prince.
Probably not, no.
Or at least Vicky Waiting. I'm sure he wouldn't have charged much for that.
Screw Jamie. I reckon that's a good song.
It is certainly not the worst of the album.
Hell no.
The worst of the album is Scandalous.
It is.
Can you agree with that?
Definitely.
Scandalous is the worst.
Scandalous is bad. I always skip Scandalous.
Yeah. It's rough. The rest of them are fine, Some are good. I like The Future.
That's a great song.
I see the future, and it will be. Wait a minute. Okay.
Andy's back.
You want to hear some? You want to hear something really nerdy?
Oh,
I've already shared way too much in the past 2 episodes.
I was going to say more than the files, which I told Jess about this morning, and she laughed, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I woke up to a few tweets of people thinking that was funny. So God bless you. Thank you all for understanding my nerdery. But there's more. So I grew up with 3 siblings. I have a brother, 2 sisters, and as kids do, we would just make up stuff to keep ourselves entertained.
Yep.
So like we built a ramshackle theme park in our backyard, and it was horrible.
Nice.
And we built a really bad haunted house in our front porch once. And this is what we do to keep ourselves entertained, because we were good kids and we didn't go set things on fire or, So one thing that we did, and this had to have been right around 1989, 1990, is my mom had this good friend. He was like an uncle who wasn't by blood, and he would always come over and hang out with us and play with us kids. And we decided to have a dance contest.
Carry on.
And we decided the dance contest was going to be the girls versus the boys. So it was me and my brother, and it was my 2 sisters. And so, of course, I choreographed our dance to The Future from the Batman '89 soundtrack, because it was one of the only tapes I owned. So, of course, we would dance to The Future.
Yep.
And my sisters actually did choreography of they were trying to be in sync and do the same moves at the same times, and it was an actual dance. And me and my brother, we were just boys. And my little brother, he was the youngest, so he was still really young and really little, because if I was 10, he would have been 6. And so our dance, and I use the word dance quite loosely, our dance was essentially just me picking him up and swinging him around a lot. So I picked him up by his legs and swung him around the room, and I picked him up over my head and swung him around, and he got on my back and I swung him around, and that was our dance.
And then
is me throwing my little brother around to the sweet tones of Prince singing The Future. I don't think we won the contest.
Probably not.
I don't think we won, but that's my memory of that song, is me swinging Steven around the living room trying to win this dance contest, and definitely as he was swinging around, he hit a bunch of crap on the shelves and knocked over a bunch of pictures and a bunch of stuff. I don't think anything broke, but yes, our dance was not only not a great dance, it was also quite dangerous to everyone.
Not a dance. I do have 2 follow-up questions. If
Sure.
it was a dance contest, what was the prize? Is the first question, and the second is, were you dressed like a cast member of Dance Party USA?
Oh, the prize was just saying that we won. So John, who was
was all
like
for
again this
glory.
uncle. Yes, John, who was this uncle who wasn't an uncle. He was the judge of the dance contest, and I think the winner just was you win.
Okay.
And because of the era we're talking about, yes, odds are I was in full Batman regalia, but it wasn't intentional. It's just probably what I was wearing.
Nice. Very good.
Sorry for the tangent, guys.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize for that at all.
Yeah.
We're
So,
all grateful. Did you have a file on your Uncle John?
I didn't because he was a good guy. Like, I didn't need one.
Okay.
Like, all the files were pretty much of people I considered bad guys. So it was like people at school I didn't like. And so they were all emotionally unstable because they were all the people I didn't like. Yeah, my poor little brother, man. Like, I was training him to be my Robin, which means he surely would have died. I made him make files with me. Like, yeah, I swung him around the living room trying to win a dance contest. To win nothing other than bragging rights. But God bless him. Anyway, got a couple more emails here. This one's from Bishop Pearson. It says, "Hey guys, it's my first time writing in. I'm also a new listener. How cool would it have been if Nicolas Cage had played Superman in Superman Lives in 1998 and then played the Scarecrow in Batman Unchained in 1999?" Bishop, good question, and I'm a little ashamed to say I've never made that connection before in my life. Is that he was cast as Superman and then heavily rumored for the Scarecrow. And yeah, that would have been crazy if that had happened.
Do you think it would have though?
No, I don't think so. I think once Superman, I think once he was cast as Superman, that was the end of it. Like, he would not have played the Scarecrow. But if we're looking at an alternate universe where he played both, yeah, that would have been crazy. But you know what? I think that the two characters are different enough that he could have pulled it off.
Yeah, I'll be honest here. I have never bought him as Superman. Even back in the day, when Superman Lives was the current project, I just never bought it. He just doesn't look like Superman to me in any way. The Scarecrow, yeah, I can see that. I can see that still. But Kal-El, no. I've never, ever pictured him as Superman. I'm really glad that movie didn't go ahead.
Yeah, see, I was exactly the same way in that time. I could not picture it. But then once I watched What Happened to Superman Lives, or The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, it's a mouthful of a title. When they finally do reveal kind of that final look, that was when I went, oh, maybe it could have worked. But up until then, no, I was with you. I was never able to picture it. So it was always an odd choice, but once I saw that documentary, I think it could have worked. But I do think that, again, once that movie moved forward, I think at that point, a fifth Batman movie was already dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of big what ifs, would have loved to have seen that Superman movie, as bonkers as it sounds.
Yeah.
All right. Next message is from Clarence Eugene. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast family. In honor of the 30th anniversary of Batman 89, would you review the original Batman 89 script by Sam Hamm that featured Robin, the scene with Batman riding a horse, and the different ending, which I won't spoil?" Clarence, thank you for the message. We mentioned those things, certainly, in our Batman 89 commentary, but I like your idea of actually just doing the script. So I love it, and I'm into it, and maybe I can make that happen. But I don't remember.
It's like, yeah, I'd need to have time to read the script.
Oh, we totally would. We totally would. But I've read that script and I don't remember a different ending.
I'm curious
But-
to see what it is.
Yeah. I'll check it out, but I don't remember a different ending. But it's been years since I read that script.
I remember
Like
there was
over
a-
10.
They had the thing with he wrote the cape thing, didn't he? Where the cape was a problem or something. Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh, I don't remember.
I just remember hearing that a few years ago, that part of the script was that Batman's cape kept getting in the way. It was like a story point or something. I don't know.
I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Just because, like I said, it has been over a decade since I read that script, so I remember the couple things we mentioned in the commentary, the Robin sequence, the chase on the horse. I remember those. There were more scenes of Vicky and Bruce falling in love. They'd all got cut. But there's certainly things that I'm sure I don't remember. So that's why I think I love your idea. I would love to do an episode on that. So I'm into it.
The one you
Let me
guys
see if
did
I
on the
can make-
Batman Returns script was good. So,
That was really
Batman
fun.
2.
Yeah, that was really fun. I really like that one. All right, one last email, and then we've done it. This was a long episode. Thank you guys for hanging in there. This is from Reverend Fraser. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast family. Tim Burton and Daniel Waters explained that if Robin was in Batman Returns, he would have been an orphan garage mechanic living in Wayne Manor with Bruce and Alfred. He would have worn a garage mechanic uniform with an R on the side. What do you think of Burton and Waters' idea for Robin as a garage mechanic?" Reverend, thank you for the message. I've heard murmurs of this too. Brendan, what are your thoughts on this?
I remember hearing that back, like way back in the day. The garage mechanic thing. I don't know. Give Robin his proper backstory.
Yeah.
I
agree. I don't like it. I don't know how real it was. I much prefer the one that did show up in the Batman 2 script from Sam Hamm, because it was still a different take on Robin, but he still had the same backstory. And that's okay. Like, if you want to change things, but still keep him who he is. So, no, I don't like this at all. I want Robin to be Robin, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that Chris Nolan?
Yes. All right, there you go. Closing the Wayne Manor mailbox. Woo, good job. We made it. But I also didn't have to tell you the dance party story, so that was on me.
But again, we're all thankful that you did.
Just sharing things.
Sharing is
telling
caring.
telling you stuff just because I trust you guys. Anyway, that's it for the Wayne Manor Mailbox. If you do have a question for the Wayne Manor Mailbox, you can send those to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. You can also leave us a voicemail at 323-366-9246. We haven't had one of those in a while. I guess people don't feel like calling me. That's fine. It's easier to write an email. I'm the same way. At work, I'd much rather write an email than pick up a phone. So anyway, I don't blame you guys. Anyway, that is it. Brendan, thank you so much for this marathon podcast, but I feel better. I feel productive. I feel caught up.
No, it's been good. Actually, here's a question. Have we run as long as Batman 89 commentary, or are we sort of on par?
Almost.
Okay.
I think by the time we're done, it's going to be pretty much the same length.
Fair enough.
But that's okay. The good news is I published the Batman commentary in June, and this is not going to get published until a couple days into July, so
Fair
that
enough.
way the storage is divvied up.
No, that works.
Although I could publish this on like June 30th because I still think I have enough space in my June storage.
That'd be...
Not that matters to anybody out
I was
there
going to say,
except me.
that's today. June 30 is today.
Oh shit, you're right. Well then never mind. It's going to publish it in July. Forget it. But yeah, this one's almost as long, and so thanks for everybody for hanging in there and joining us. But again, I just feel accomplished. I just feel like now we can like move forward. I got my stuff. I feel like everything's caught up. We know it works.
Yeah.
Onward and upward, guys.
And now news will be current.
News will be current.
Until it's not.
The mailbox is empty, mostly, more or less. We still have some media to cover that we haven't gotten to yet, but we will get to it, and then we'll keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. So, Brendan, thank you for doing this on your solo bachelor day.
That's okay.
While Jess is out and about.
I was going to be recording a podcast hopefully today anyway, but that sort of fell through, so it didn't really change my plans at all.
That's good. I'm happy to be your backup, your plan B.
Well, aren't I always yours?
Yeah, but do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, Brendan, no, it was super fun. Glad that you made this happen. When you go to Movie World, tweet out some photos. I'd love to see what you see. But if the folks at home want to keep up with you in all of your endeavors, where can they do so?
At this stage, best place is probably just at Loey007 on Twitter, or it's pretty much the same handle on Instagram. You'll see me on there, and you can follow along.
Perfect. And we'll be hearing more of you on Holy BatCast, because now we're in closer time zones.
Mm-hmm. F Jamie.
So that'll be fun. Anyway, yeah, so please give Brendan a follow, and we will hear more of him soon. But that is where we are going to wrap up this little catch-up potpourri episode of Holy BatCast. Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us. Thank you for downloading the show. Please do subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And as Michael Keaton's Batman says, I want you to tell all your friends about me. Visit holybatcast.com. Follow Holy BatCast all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And again, you can send us an email or a question at holybatcast@rf4rm.com or leave a voicemail at 323-366-9246. But that'll do it for this episode. On behalf of Brendan, I've been Andy. This has been Holy BatCast. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
After we will see. So you can't go like a jerk. No, no.
Holy BatCast is brought to you by real fans for real movies. Remember, the thoughts and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone, and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
Why have you brought me here?
You sure it was me? Maybe it was this place that called you.
Who are you?
Just a passing stranger. Maybe a phantom from a dream. Trying to help you understand the things you already know. You know, some of these old cypress can live to be 1,000 years old. Can you imagine the things that they've seen in that time? You've seen some things out here too, haven't you?
I've seen ghosts.
Perhaps there's another way.
Memories held by the trees.
And the green that connects them all together.
The green?
What you're seeing.